Money-Making Secrets of Marketing Genius Jay Abraham and Other Marketing Wizards by Mr. X. When this book first came out back in the days, it was offered for sale at a few $100 price point, I believe like $300 or something like that. And contained within this book is Jay's core principles in which he used to generate business growth for himself and his clients that, as a result, have influenced many different business and marketing consultants and many different entrepreneurs and marketing and sales strategies, business growth strategies. Jay has been responsible for generating $20-something billion worth of additional revenue for his clients and himself in over the last 30, 40 years that he's been doing this. And probably anybody that you admire as far as a business growth expert or a marketing consultant or a successful entrepreneur has been directly or indirectly influenced by Jay's work, including myself. When I built my IT business, these principles that I had learned from my mentors and those that I followed came from Jay's strategies, a lot of them from this very book here. And it's this book that has been responsible for a lot of business success, and that's why the price point is reasonably so at a few $100s. This is not your average marketing book. This is something that is extremely powerful, and today we're going to get into a lengthy discussion on this book, as well as my experiences working with the Abraham Group since 2014 on various projects, including having the opportunity to host the live Q&A calls for Jay, in which I get to be on these calls, and there are hundreds, if not thousands, of questions that were answered, stimulating questions that Jay answered with marketing genius and precision to solve business problems. And having exposure to this was huge for me in understanding and dimensionalizing the things that we're going to talk about in this video, not just from a theoretical sense, but my own pragmatic application of this information, as well as being given the rare opportunity to sit in on Jay's live private one-on-one consultations. I went to New York to sit in on a one-on-one consultation. Jay charges 6 figures for 1 day of his time. $120,000 is his rate for 1 day of his time. And it is extremely valuable and deep stuff, mind-blowing stuff. So I have the rare opportunity to be able to do this, and I want to share what I've learned throughout the discussion of this video and this book, which is also, again, built on information that I've learned through the process. And even then, given the length of this video of how it's going to be, it's still just scratching the surface. So if you want to make a study of marketing and sales and business growth and the revenue side, then I definitely recommend studying anything by Jay Abraham and using this video as a foundational segue and a staple for your business growth, because you can always refer back to it. You can take the information, you can apply it, and you can come back to the video and get even more information and go and apply it and continue to build your business. Broken down into a number of sections. Okay, I created these sections, are different notes that I pulled in my research, working with Jay's information and so forth, as well as quotes and elements from this book. So let's get into discussion. Let's start off by talking about growing your client base. Everybody wants to grow their business, and get more clients, get more customers is the way to grow your business. There are many different strategies of doing this. And one of the important breakthroughs we have to realize when it comes to growing your client base is it is not new clients, but old clients that are the key to growth and profitability. We're going to talk about in a moment the 3 ways to grow your business model. But one of the things we have to realize is that it costs. There's a large investment that need to be made to acquire clients in the front end to do that first transaction with you. And once that transaction is complete, the goal is to maintain that relationship, the relationship that you've built as a result of marketing to them, because they bought from you because they like you and they trust you. We want to maintain that so we can offer additional products and services to them, either ones that you create or ones that you can partner with somebody to create. And we'll cover strategies throughout this video to better serve them and create additional profit centers, increasing lifetime client value. For example, if you acquire the client on a front end on a $50 sale and it costs you $20 to do your marketing, well, you made $30. However, that's not where the real profit is. The real profit is the net result of delivering and fulfilling on that $50 purchase with the client, and then building a relationship with them and offering them higher price point items. And because you have a relationship with them, You don't necessarily have to invest that upfront marketing costs. You just need to reach out to them and do the various things that we're going to talk about here to further build that relationship. And thus, this will increase the lifetime client value. And if, for example, you know your numbers, and I did a whole discussion on the finance spreadsheet, I'll put the link in the description. Watch that video because I got a spreadsheet that helps calculate all this. If you realize that it costs you $30 to acquire a client and you're charging $50 on the first sale, then you can add more products and services to the back end, to the relationship of the client to better serve them. That client can then be worth thousands of dollars. And if the client's now worth thousands of dollars, you can invest hundreds of dollars on the front end. You could run at a loss for the first or second or third sale just to make up on the back end if you know your numbers. That's why it's very important. Your client relationship are the number one asset you have. You can secure customer relationships by doing the following. Keeping in touch, whether it be by telephone, mail, or in person. All customers want to feel that they are special and that you can take special interest in seeing their needs. Building relationships is where it's at. We want to build relationships with people. We don't want to see them, our clients, as simple transactions. These are real people and they have real pains, frustrations, goals, and aspirations. And what we want to do is we want to serve them. We want to recognize them. We want to build a relationship. When you have a relationship with your client, and you have a better relationship compared to any other service provider that is available, they're going to turn to you for advice. They're going to turn to you for recommendations. And you can create products and services, or you could partner with other companies to create products and services, or you could offer their products and services, thus making referral fees or all kinds of configurations as far as profit centers go, so you can increase your lifetime client value. Providing post-purchase reassurance. Each time a customer places an order with you, call him or her a week after receiving your product or service, or reach out to them and ask how it's going. Many ways of doing this. Want to do it in a way where it's non-intrusive. And this will reduce post-purchase dissonance. Post-purchase dissonance. Now, what is post-purchase dissonance? Okay, this is when somebody buys something, they might regret buying it, or they might be like on the fence about it, and they wish they never did it, and so forth. So what we want to do is we want to offer reassurance. So here's some ways we can do it. Why do we want to offer reassurance? Well, first of all, they can get the most out of that product or service that you sold to them, number one. Number two, it further builds a relationship with them so they can like you and trust you further, so we can further sell more products or services that serve them, thus increasing your profits. So you ally any post-purchase dissonance, buyer's remorse that may be festering in the mind of your customer, his or her family or associates, when you reach out to them and you connect with them and you share additional information on how they can get the most out of your product or service. You dramatically reduce and perhaps eliminate the refunds, exchanges, or costly service expenses. You make the customer more receptive for your next offer. You develop a closer relationship with your customers and satisfy their cravings. You give yourself an opportunity to recommend a buying strategy that includes continuous repurchasing, so you're positioning yourself for the next offer. You get a chance to immediately upsell the client over to a more expensive product or service because perhaps what they bought will serve them to a certain degree, but they have something else, or you have something else you can offer that could serve them even better, and you have an opportunity now to upsell them, thus increasing lifetime client value. By offering a back-end sale, you can solicit a customer's referral. Okay, we're going to talk about referrals. One of the best ways to grow your business is to orchestrate referrals. When you get on the phone with them and you have a conversation, they have a great experience, you can ask for referrals. You can ask them to refer to you others that can benefit off your product or service. You can explain the use of your product so it'll be better used and reordered sooner. Perhaps this is a product or service that requires them to come back and buy again and again so they can get more benefit. By having this initial consultation with them or a conversation with them, you can help them get the most out of it and show them how continuous repurchasing of the product or service is in their best interest. Giving your clients the best deals and guarantees that you can possibly get away with. This is another way of building upon the relationship with your clients. Preferential pricing. See, once you've engaged in a relationship with a client and they trust you and they like you, one of the best strategies that you can deploy is to help them feel connected to you, help them feel that you are treating them different. Okay, nobody wants to be treated as a prospect after they've become a client. They want preferential treatment. So offering the best deals, guarantees, and preferential pricing on new products or services can be a great way of building this relationship and also increasing lifetime client value. Building rapport and trust, okay, being as honest with your customers as possible. Remember, people do business with those that are ethical and that they can trust, and thus this helps further secure the relationship with the client. Now, let's look at Jay's 3 ways to grow your business model. There are 3 ways to grow your business, fundamentally. Number 1 is to increase your number of buyers, clients, and prospects. Number 2 is to get clients to ethically increase their average purchase transactional value, which means that on the point of sale, they pay more for bundles or additional products and services that are at a higher price point, thus increasing your profit, but also adding more value to the client. Number 3, increasing transactional frequency, lifetime client value, getting them to come back again and again and again because you've built that relationship with them. As simple and pragmatic as these key areas of focus sound, there's an infinite way of combining them and working with them to grow your business. If you focus on these 3 areas and you make it a discipline to improve on each of these areas, your business will grow into areas where you never thought possible, but you will be able to serve your clients better, and you will be able to be way more effective in a marketplace or in a niche where clients are not being served this way. Increase the number of buyers, clients, and prospects. Let's talk about this. The goal here is to generate more leads and convert more. Okay, generate more leads and convert them over to clients on the front end. It costs a lot to acquire a client. A lot of industries are willing to pay a lot of money on the front end, and it costs, marketing, the consultative selling process, the various things that we got to do to acquire the client can be very costly. So thus we want to be effective at looking at the best sources for our leads, and we have to come up with certain strategies to convert them over to the client. Once they've been converted over our client, as mentioned, to provide assurance and follow-up so we can build a relationship with them so they can get the most highest and best use out of whatever product or service, so they can be educated to benefit more of what it is that you've sold to them, can be very beneficial in staging them for the next transaction and the next purchase, which is in their favor. Remember, we're not doing these things to be manipulative. We're doing this to create a long-term business growth strategy that's favorable to the client. It's all about the client. By making it inviting, easy, informative, non-threatening, educational, inspiring, and fun to do business with you, you'll lift your company above your competition. Here are some key things to remember when it comes to converting prospects into client. You cannot service too much, you cannot educate too much, you cannot inform too much, and you cannot offer too much follow-up or follow-through too far. Now, we have to do it in a way that is with the client and educational and inspiring and uplifting and actually motivates them, not in a way that's pushy. You cannot make ordering too easy. There's many different ways that you could do this. Improving your ability to consultative advisory selling, or improving your consultative advisory selling skills if you're doing it on the phone. Being very clear and specific on the actions that they need to take. And you cannot make calling or coming into your business too desirable. Now let's look at some methods that we could apply to increase the number of buyers, clients, and prospects. Let's talk about converting prospects so we can get deeper into it. The more synergy you can bring in together in your packaging, the better. So think about this for a moment. If you're selling a product or service and it's not compelling enough to your prospect, then perhaps one of the things you want to keep into consideration is how do we increase the value of what it is that we're selling? Bundling can be a huge benefit here. By adding more features or adding products or services together as a bundle, we could better serve our clients and the wide array of pains and frustrations and needs that they have that need to be resolved that perhaps just the product alone can't solve. For example, if you're offering IT services and they're looking for a broader spectrum of IT services or a broader spectrum of services, That might be something to keep into consideration on an initial offering. Perhaps they just don't need the IT services, but they're also looking to evaluate their operational procedures. Or potential looking at how they can expand using internet business, online advertising, and so forth, which a lot of times I found that to be true. By approaching them and connecting with them and saying that we'll solve your IT issues, but we'll also provide packages if you're interested in, where we can look at the broader spectrum of needs in your business, and we can make a proposition to you that includes these other areas as part of the deal, that can be more beneficial for the client. However, it'll also influence the buying decision to a higher degree because they're getting a lot more and they're able to get it from you versus other providers. So depending on the kind of business that you do, how can you bundle different products and services together and offer that in the front end to provide more features that relate to the benefits? Remember, it's about the benefits, not about the features. It's the benefits that they're getting, to convert them over to a client. Because buying from you or your product or service offers far more than doing business with somebody else at perhaps even a lower price point. You can get creative with this. By reducing the cost to a modest and non-threatening monthly or quarterly payment, you dramatically increase appeal. Maybe you're selling something like a $10,000 or $25,000 package, and that might be too much of an upfront investment for the client. Consider breaking that down into 4 or 5 payments of maybe $5,000 and then offering them a discount if they pay full upfront. Or if it's a yearly service that you're offering and you're selling it for X amount for a whole year, consider breaking it down into monthly payments. Now, this also reduces the risk. One of the things we want to do is reduce the risk for the client. If they have to invest a large amount up front, they might feel uncomfortable with going ahead with the purchase. So by reducing the risk, we say, okay, you can try us out for 1 month. Here's our monthly rate. And if you're interested further exploring this and you get the benefit, which we're confident that you will get the benefit out of this, we can credit that forward towards a yearly package and we can convert you over to a yearly package and we'll honor that yearly package deal after the first 2 months, something like that. Here are some techniques that are successful in direct marketing campaigns to get orders to increase the size of orders, to get orders or to increase the size of the orders, because if we can increase the size of the order, the transactional value, then we have more money to work with to acquire more clients, or we have more profit in our business to reinvest back in business growth. Introduce a trade-up offer. A company might offer, for example, an additional $35 the customer can get X. So if you buy this, but for an additional $35, you can get this, which adds more value to the client. Offer special packaging. This might include holiday, birthday, or special event gift wrapping or unique reusable boxes. Present a compatible item. After a sale is made on prescription glasses, for instance, try to sell the customer on a second pair of glasses at a discount. You see this when you go to retail stores. Buy the first pair of jeans and get the second one for 50% less. It's pretty compelling if you always go to the same place to buy jeans and you are going to buy them anyways. You might as well get 2 pairs and you end up saving. But they make an additional amount on that transactional by increasing the transactional value. Offer an extension. New car dealers and home appliance retailers, for example, offer extended warranties or extended service contracts. Make selective price increases. You might try raising prices of hard to get or hard to find products. Increase minimum order requirements. If you're a business-to-business office supply marketer, try increasing the minimum purchase requirements on selected products. Offer bulk discounts. Some of your customers will respond to bulk purchases if they get price breaks from you. Offer a premium on specific purchases. For some customers, a free gift will convince them to buy from you. For example, you could give the customer a free can of auto polish when he or she purchases an electric buffer. Introduce bundle deals. Okay, computer marketers have increased sales by making bundled offers, computer, printer, software, paper, at a lower price than what the total cost of the separate items would be. Now, there are many different methods also to increase the number of buyers, clients, and prospects. Let's discuss these in detail. Now, referrals has been one of those most valuable strategies when I was growing my IT business and continues to be so. and can be very useful for you if you have a service-based business or any kind of business. Referrals matter because when somebody's happy with their product or service that you sold to them and they go and tell their friends about it and their friends are looking for that same solution, their friends are more likely to buy it because they have a relationship with that person. They might not have a relationship with you, but your credibility is transferred from their friend or whoever, their business associated, because they have the like and trust with them. So what we want to do is we want to orchestrate referrals. Most people and businesses spend all their time, effort, and money on conventional marketing, advertising, or selling programs, when a fraction of that effort and virtually no expense would get them many times the results if they developed a formalized referral system. So this means that after you go through a process where you convert your prospect over to client, you reach out to them, you ensure that they're having a good experience, and maybe even make additional offers to enhance the relationship. Once they have a great relationship, it should be part of the practice to ask for a referral. So here's looking at referral systems here. Step 1, every time clients deal with you in person, through your sales staff, by letter, email, or on the phone, diplomatically ask them for client referrals. But you first must set the stage. Tell your clients that you realize you enjoy doing business with them, and they probably associate with other people like themselves who mirror their values and quality. Tell them you'd like to extend to them the opportunity of referring their valued and trusted associates to you. Then help the client see a clear picture of who in their lives could benefit most effectively and naturally from your products or services. Tell them what kind of person or business it might be, where they are, what they're probably doing, and why they'd be benefiting from this. Show them what that person or entity would be doing or buying right now so that the picture is vivid. Then extend a total risk-free, total obligation-free sales offer. Step number 2, willingly offer to confer with, review, and advise, or at least talk or meet with anyone important to that client. Offer to consult their referral or let them sample or get a demonstration of your product or service in action without the expectation of purchase, so your client sees you as the valuable expert with whom they can put their friends or colleagues in touch with. Remember, when it comes to orchestrating referrals, we have to realize that there are individuals out there who would love to refer to you, but we don't want to make this a pushy process or seem like additional work from. We want to keep it in consideration that if we can enhance the relationship that they have with the person that they're referring to you, and that it's of pleasure and joy for them to refer that person to you, then they're going to more likely do it. In business, referrals are very important. So if you get a referral, it's important to treat that referral to a certain caliber of product or service deliverable, so that it further enhances the relationship that they have with the person that referred them to you. A formal client referral system will bring you an additional immediate increase in clients and profit, and it doesn't cost anything to implement. A referral-generated client normally spends more money, buys more often, is more profitable and loyal than most other categories of business you could go after. So that's one of the most powerful ways of growing your business, referrals. And a lot of businesses do not have a referral-generating system and a way of orchestrating referrals that they use consistently. And it's important when you're generating referrals to see if you can acquire some clients that potentially have access to a large spectrum of people or businesses that they could refer you to. When I was building my IT business, one of the things that I did was I focused on accountants, because accountants have access to a whole bunch of businesses which they would gladly refer to you for IT services or whatever services, provided that they have a good relationship and a good connection and a good experience with you. And because the accountants have a relationship with those businesses, they're more likely to go out there and do the sales for you. You can even offer a percentage of the or finder's fee for acquiring you the client. But because they have a relationship with them and those clients trust the accountant, then they'll transfer that credibility over to you. Acquiring clients at a break-even upfront. So what happens is a lot of times businesses try to make a profit on the first sale. And as a result of it, they're missing out on an opportunity. what we can do is we can acquire sales reps or people out there to refer to us, clients and so forth, and give them 100% on the front end. Okay, give them 100% on the front end, or maybe even more, because we know lifetime client value. See, let's say you got a client and it cost you $50 to acquire the client, and you sell the product or service for $100. Now the 50 is whatever overhead and so forth. If you can find somebody and give them the other $50, they make $50 to acquire the client, you now have broken even. Now, if you have a line of products or services that you can create, that you can, if you can't create yourself, partner with others to create, that you know that that client can benefit from, as a result of that experience that they had with you on the front end, because you follow the various things that we're talking about in this video to build a relationship with them, so they're more likely to convert on additional product or service sales. Then what happens is that's all profit, or very high profit margins, because obviously there'll be some overhead on it. So as a result, it's great then to go out and acquire clients on the front end at a break even, because the net result of that is you're building a client database. You're building a database of buyers, and those buyers, those clients, have a relationship with you, and you can figure out how you can market various other products and services to them and create additional profit centers or increase the lifetime client value. Guaranteeing purchases with risk reversal. So risk reversal is essentially guarantees, okay, money back guarantees and so forth. One of the things that you might consider doing is remembering that, look, when two people come together and they want to participate in a business transaction or a business relationship, one person is usually saying, you take the risk, and the other person is saying, no, I don't want to take the risk, you take the risk. And when it comes to a client who's going to invest their money, what we want to do is we want to reduce the risk. And if your product and service is really valuable, then consider offering 30-day or 60-day money-back guarantee, or something even greater than that. A better, Jay talks about this in Getting Everything You Can Out of All You've Got. If you haven't watched the discussion I did on that, you can watch that in the link in the description. Is you can offer even more back. So in other words, they will not only be able to, for example, get their money back, but they can keep the product or service as a result of their investment and their trust and their faith if they're not happy with it, something like that. Host beneficiary strategic alliances, endorsers, and distribution channels. So one of the best ways to increase the number of prospects and clients you have is to look for others that have relationship in the marketplace for the specific prospects that you're targeting. Build a relationship with those individuals, those endorsers, and figure out how they can refer their prospects or their clients over to you, so that maybe you can give them and break even on the front end by giving them the first sale, all the profit, or the entire amount of the first sale, so that they'll feel compelled to refer people to you, or various other configurations that you can set up. But the key is this: there are others that exist that have access to the marketplace, and this is one of Jay's key pinnacle philosophies. They have access to the marketplace and the clients and the prospects that you desire, and they already have a relationship with them. So by partnering with them, you can get access to their audience, their clients. And if they have buying relationships with those clients, and they have a great relationship with those clients, then a referral means a lot, and it can be very profitable for you and them, because you can offer them a percentage or complete front end. Advertising, direct mail, or email marketing. Okay, there's 4 types of direct mail promotions. Number 1 is direct sales. Okay, just emailing out or asking for the order. Now, ideally, we want to keep into consideration that people buy from those that they like and trust. So you have to be able to put this in your sales copy and whatever credibility. You have to build a relationship with them. So this might end up going through a sequence of steps to be able to do this effectively. I did a lengthy discussion with Roy Furr on email marketing. I'll put a link in the description. I recommend you watch that video. Number 2 is lead generation, asking for an inquiry. Number 3 is third-party endorsements, getting influencers to endorse you, those that already have relationships with those that you seek to build a relationship with. Database marketing, okay, mailing to your own customers, your own clients. Why? Because your clients already have a relationship with you. And provided it's a good relationship, they'll come back and buy again and again and again. Running special events and information nights. One of the ways of reducing risk or barrier of entry and increasing the like and trust is to invite prospects over to an event or a seminar and information nights in which they can get to know who you are. They can get to know about your business and what you do and who you serve and the integrity and the standards that you hold yourself up to. And it's no obligation. And you present and you discuss and they connect with each other. And from there, they're able to make a better educated decision to do business with you. They'll feel more comfortable. Acquiring qualified lists. Okay, you can actually go out and connect with people who have lists of buyers that meet the profile. And in a non-intrusive way, you can ask them to introduce you to that list. Or, if it's appropriate, you can start reaching out to that list. Remember, you got to do it in a way that is obviously non-intrusive. Unique selling proposition. Unique selling proposition. Your unique selling proposition is that distinct, appealing idea that sets your business apart from every other Me Too competitor. This is where you differentiate yourself in the marketplace and you position yourself as the only viable and highest quality, or whatever it is your unique selling proposition is, as a provider, and they pick you versus others. So there's many different kinds of examples. We'll run through some examples here. But the unique selling proposition is essentially your differentiator. Okay? It's your distinct, appealing idea that sets your business apart from every other Me Too competitor. Here are some examples to stimulate you. Domino's Pizza. Hot, juicy, delicious pizza delivered to your door in 30 minutes or less, or it's yours absolutely free. Okay, they're saying that you're going to get this in 30 minutes or less, or it's free. Maybe the competitors can't deliver it in 30 minutes, and their schedule is, anywhere from between 30 minutes to 45 minutes. But Domino's Pizza takes the edge and says, for those of you who are looking for the pizza to be delivered in 30 minutes, we guarantee it. Otherwise, we're going to give it to you for free. That's a unique selling proposition. In the 1960s, Avis was struggling to come up with a marketing approach that would gain them the market advantage that they desired. They needed a unique selling proposition that was very powerful. After all, Hertz was head above them in size and in market share. What did they do? They came up with a USP. We're number two, we try harder, and they demonstrated that by extending themselves, by working harder, by giving better rates, by being more cordial and courteous. Nordstrom's built their department store's success through one basic unique selling proposition. If you have any problem with a purchase for any reason, bring it back for a no questions asked 100% money back refund anytime in the future. Anytime in the future, not in 3 days, not in 7 days, not in 30 days. If a year later you're dissatisfied, if 5 years you're dissatisfied, it's not a problem. And that's a very powerful, unique selling proposition. Financial advisor Howard Ruff built a $20 million newsletter empire back in the 80s by putting himself in a unique and a distinctive position in his marketplace. Most of the other financial advisors took the position that they were the big-time Wall Street pros, and they were trying to appeal only to affluent investors. Howard took the opposite approach, and said, I'm the financial advisor to the middle class, and I want to protect your interests at a different level. I know how hard you work to make the dollar. I know how important it is that you don't lose it. I know how critical your retirement monies are to you. I respect and approach your situation differently than anybody else. Now, if you're in the middle class and you're looking for somebody to help you with investments, you're probably going to respond to an ad or a presentation that speaks specifically to your criteria because you're going to feel understood. That's the power of the unique selling proposition. Some companies position themselves as having the best selection or the broadest array of buying options. Other companies may offer more limited selection, but their USP is low price or low markup. Other companies may decide that they don't want to be known for just price or selection, so instead they offer the finest quality at a higher but still reasonable price. Quality or exclusivity, even snob appeal, is a USP. Still, another firm may offer a product at a reasonable price, but their distinct selling appeal is that they offer better service, assistance, or installation help. So what is the unique selling proposition of your business, and how do you position yourself as a different segment of the marketplace solution provider that is at a distinct advantage to that particular niche of prospects, so that group of prospect, versus the other options available. Okay, you can niche down. For example, on this channel, I do very lengthy book discussions. You could say that in the marketplace of book discussions or support groups in related to books and whatnot, my unique selling proposition is I do lengthy discussions on deep elements that are pulled from experience. I do it in a format that's based on mind mapping. It's presented a certain way. And as a result of it, those that are interested in information presented this way are going to come to my channel. It might not benefit those that are looking for 5-minute book summaries and so forth. In my IT business, my unique selling proposition was that I wasn't an IT service provider. I was a person that would help them grow their business. I offer IT solutions, but that's just what I do to support them while I help them with their operations, while I help them and bring in other people to support me in my efforts to help them grow their business. They automatically position me as a better source of a service provider. The reason is because these were entrepreneurial companies, 5 to 10 employees and so forth, and they were looking to grow their business. Okay, so they were looking for all kinds of interesting ways of growing their business, and I had the ability to help them in this area. So by bringing me on as an IT service provider, I was not only able to provide those solutions, but they saw me as a person that could help them grow their business. A very unique selling proposition that other IT firms weren't offering. Increased perception with better client education. Brochures, videos, different kinds of information we can provide to help the client understand that we are a better provider of service can influence the buying decision in our favor. Using PR and media management, improving your consultative advisory selling with everyone in your organization. See, there's different kinds of sales. Consultative advisory selling is the process of connecting with your clients and figuring out what their pains and frustrations are, listening. You're not trying to push them to a buying decision, but listen to their pains and frustrations. Understand that they have unique needs, and figuring out how to craft an offer, how to create something that serves them better than anybody else can serve them, that solves their specific problems, that helps them realize that maybe the decision they were going to make is not in their best interest, and perhaps they should look at some other options that are available. And here's why. It's a very consultative process, so that they can understand that you care about them and that you're looking out for their best interest, and you can see beyond what they can see, and you've helped them realize something, and thus, as a result of that, that's a better choice. Qualifying your leads up front. See, not everybody is a prospect. We have to have systems and processes in place, and we have to have criteria in place to determine what makes an ideal client. And we don't want to be pushing people into buying stuff. We want to realize that if we've got something really valuable, that there exists a prospect or a group of prospects that are interested, and they're just probably not aware of what we have to offer. And we need to position ourselves in front of them. So we need to be creative with our marketing platforms and who we ask when it comes to referrals from, position ourselves, and then set up a process so we can qualify them, so we can see if they really are a right fit, and then build a knowledge base of different elements that we're going to use as criteria when we're looking for prospects, which can help us in different marketing and advertising initiatives. Putting out irresistible offers, communicating more frequently with your clients, delivering higher than expected levels of service. Because if you deliver a higher than expected level of service, they're more likely to come back to you, and they're more likely to refer other clients to you. Educating your clients on giving them the reasons why. Telemarketing and phone sales. Let's talk about this for a moment. What kind of product or service lends itself to telemarketing? The answer has 3 parts. Ideally, it should be a unit with a higher price, because when it comes to connecting on the phone, one of the things that we might need to do is have follow-up calls. There might be a process of back and forth to build a relationship with them and so forth before they make a decision. And so thus we need to justify that time, energy, and opportunity costs. So ideally, a higher price point would fit that criteria. There should be enough markup in it to pay the telemarketers a good commission so we can acquire good sales reps. After all expenses are taken out, there should be a healthy profit left. So the idea is we can put this as part of our process, part of our lifetime client value process of upsells and so forth. When they buy an initial product and they get value out of it and we build a relationship with them, perhaps then it's worth it to reach out to them over the phone and make an offer for a higher price point item. And because it might take a little bit more effort and require you to have more presence and awareness, utilization of your time, energy, opportunity costs, and resources, you need to be able to make a profit on it. And that additional process, which is taken up by consultative advisory selling, can be beneficial for you if your price point is high enough and you can get the return on it. Learning to ask questions as you talk to your prospect is the best way to sell. Keep the following 9 points in mind as you refine your telephone skills. Number 1, develop a plan. Before placing a call, be aware of exactly what it is you want to learn before the call is over. And you get better at this with practice. Number 2, prepare a list of topics to cover. Have a specific question under each topic. Number 3, ask permission. It's a common courtesy to ask the customer's permission to ask questions. We don't want to be intrusive and pushy. Number 4, time questions properly. Avoid making your presentation sound like an interrogation. Next, begin with broad questions, then relax the prospect and get the ball rolling. Then your questions can become more specific as the prospect reveals certain needs and concerns. Number 6, build upon your previous answers. Your feedback shows the prospect that you're listening. Number 7, balance the number and type of questions though asking too few questions isn't a good practice, too many questions can make the prospect impatient for you to get to the point. So you got to find the right balance depending on the prospect, depending on the industry, and so forth. Number 8, don't ask manipulative questions. Okay, they insult the prospect's intelligence. And number 9, be relaxed and conversational. Always let the prospect finish talking and listen carefully. That's very important. When you let the prospect finish talking and you listen carefully, you will further build like and trust. Here are some additional pointers from the book as well. In telephone sales, you don't have the advantage of body language, so tone of voice and rate of speech are critical. A good personality, the ability to build confidence, and to be in charge and to work towards a close are necessary for phone sales. You must go through the right person, see the one who makes the buying decision, expect to be confronted and rejected by many secretaries. Listen to what the other person is saying, then respond to his or her needs accordingly. Answer questions by asking questions. If I understand you correctly, you would be interested if this is correct, or if I could provide the service for you at a price below market with no risk on your part, is there any reason why we couldn't do business, or something like that? Read back information. Don't assume that the person you're talking to understands. Keep asking, am I making myself clear? Does this make sense to you? Do you agree? Don't try to sell anything that is too technical or complicated over the phone. Keep it simple. If you have to do Zoom or do presentations, use visual aid to help people understand. Don't assume that they can visually map it out just because you have a technological background and you're able to do so. Don't think that the decision maker has that same ability, so you might have to use visual cues. Ask for action. Offer choice between two alternatives. Anticipate objections. Make it easy to say yes and difficult to say no. Use post-purchase reassurance as soon as you've sold the customer. Remember this, very important. Follow up by telephone. Purchasing commitment in writing. Verbal commitments are easily and quickly forgotten. Now, related to that, one of the things that can help us increase the amount of clients is actually building a powerful sales force. Let's talk about this. Building a sales force, a team of individuals that do the selling for you. Now, if you're starting out in business, then you're going to want to dedicate a percentage of your time, arguably a large percentage of your time, selling, because that's how you're going to drive the business. And in the process, you want to refine and create a system that you could train over to other sales reps that you acquire and bring onto your team who can drive more sales while you focus on other areas of your business. So here are some guidelines for getting the most out of your salespeople. Make sure salespeople understand that you won't settle for less than 100% commitment from them. If your sales rep aren't the best salespeople they can be, they'll never be able to sell at their maximum potential. So your goal is to grow the sales reps, is to be committed towards their success, is to support them. Don't just let them do their selling and check in on the numbers. Get really granular and involved. It's very important because this is what drives your business. Encourage sales reps to emulate a top-selling sales rep. Identify who they are. And by using a respected, high-performing salesperson as a role model, sales reps can pick up the techniques that lead to success. So identify who your top sales reps are and model them. Figure out what they're doing best and help them train others, and train others based on their principles and techniques and philosophies that they use. The sales rep should develop a pre-call selling plan, which is based on the known characteristics and needs of the specific customer, because everyone's different, especially if you're doing big ticket sales. We don't want to treat people like scripts, just running off a script. We want to treat people as human beings, as complex human beings, but still keeping into consideration the key important points to cover that influence the buying decision. Reps should attempt to encourage buyers to discuss their problems and needs. Once the salesperson can get buyers to talk about their problems as they relate to the product, the sale is practically made. To generate repeat business, your salespeople have to demonstrate to the buyers that they are better than anyone else at fulfilling needs and solving problems. So you're not just selling stuff as a sales rep. You are a problem solver. The client sees you as the go-to person that can help them. If you sell a product or service, or if your sales rep is selling a product or service on behalf of your company, then your client has to feel that if there's an issue, they can go back to the sales rep. And you got to set up systems accordingly to provide that kind of support. Reps should have quick access to information, both from within and outside your company, so they won't look like they're unprepared and so forth. Here are the 7 motivational forces to which people respond to. Acceptance. You want to incorporate this in our selling. People want to be reassured that they are needed. Accomplishment. They derive pleasure from a task completed. Environment. They have great desire for pleasant surroundings and friendly associates. Recognition. They need praise. Responsibility. They want authority, security. They are deeply concerned about the future. And status. Status symbols impress them. They want status. Now, not everyone is going to be universal in all of these. Some will have a bias towards some or another, or just maybe one. It's important to recognize it and realize that this is going to be important factors for not only acquiring new clients, but motivating your sales rep. Tips for coaching your sales force. Number 1, don't criticize. Instead, provide salespeople with how-to advice. Repeatedly tell them what you'd like about their performance. Build their self-confidence. Remember, we're as entrepreneurs, we see ourselves as a person that grows other individuals in our companies. We don't want to just bring people on and just kind of treat them as employees that we're not interested in growing, but they've got to bring the goods, and if they're not developing or they're growing, we just get rid of them. We want to be responsible for their growth and success. So ideally, we want to bring people on that are coachable, that are willing to and are motivated to grow with the organization. And we got to get really good at communicating effectively and training so that we can develop and enhance their success and their careers. Building their self-confidence, asking questions. By asking questions, the sales manager gets the salespeople actively involved. Build on your strengths. Take advantage of training materials that might help struggling salespeople. You send them on training, share different kinds of information that we're talking about. For example, there's different kinds of sales books. One of the things that I really like to do is when I'm training people is I like to share with them various different kinds of books and information that I'm learning or I've learned, and then follow up with a discussion so that they can get really engaged in the process. Pressure the salesperson to evaluate themselves. Okay, and then you don't necessarily have to use pressure, but that should be something that should be part of the discussions that you have with them on ongoing development, perhaps weekly calls or monthly evaluations, where you look at their progress that they're making and their growth or lack thereof, and you help them grow. by advising them, by supporting them, by mentoring them. Always come to an agreement about what is corrective to action to improve, because the goal here is to make improvements. As sales reps, they will make improvements and generate more sales. Okay, their goal is to get more prospects, convert them over to clients, and your goal is to help them. And the way you help them is by improving them. But you have to see eye to eye on what needs to be improved on. Keep records, set specific standards of performance, and make sure they're being met within stated time limits. So key performance indicators and metrics are so important. You've got to have numbers. One of the things I do when I'm dealing with sales reps is I want to look at the numbers. I want to see what the different ratios, closing ratios, different kinds of key performance indicators that will reveal to me the areas that they need to improve on. I need to look at those numbers, because if I don't have those numbers, then I can't really see which part of the equation is not optimized, or which part of the equation can be swapped out for maybe another process that is more effective, and so forth. So we have to base this on numbers. One of the big things related to selling is rejection. Let's talk about making the most out of rejection. Number one, find out why. A rejection can be educational if you found out the reason, be it logical or frivolous. See, when you get rejected, it's not a blow to your ego. You got to start looking at it from a more objective standpoint. It is optimization data on how we can improve. Every rejection is educational. If you work with your sales reps and you evaluate their rejections, and you can observe how they're taking it, and you can help them see it from a different perspective, make corrections, make improvements, then that's what's going to grow your sales organization. Find out if the competition is meeting the customer's needs and learn how. It is crucial to identify and pinpoint and satisfy customers. It is crucial to identify your customers and be able to see what the competition is doing to try and meet the requirements, so that you can embed that in your sales process. In other words, your consultative advisory selling process, to help the prospect realize that by doing business with you, they won't have those issues, or they will have a better level of service or care for that which your customers are potentially going to another provider to get. Instead, they'll go to you because you fulfill on those problems that is not being addressed by your competitors. And if they're addressing the client's pain points in different ways that you are not, you can incorporate that into your consultative advisory selling process, and thus you won't experience the rejections. This is essentially preemptively overcoming objections. Exit gracefully from a non-productive sales call, because time of the salesperson is most important asset. Identify sales calls that are mistakes. See the interview from the buyer's perspective and listen between the lines. Leave the door open. Try to end the sales call in a positive note. Now, let's look at some strategies, 6 key strategies for dealing with rejection. Divorce your ego from the sale. Remember that the prospect is not attacking you personally. Realize that the intimidating prospect you are facing may have a lot of problems. Remember, these are people that we're dealing with, and they've got a lot going on in their lives. And so if they reject you, and they may come off as being harsh towards you, that they probably have a lot of things going on in their life, and they just don't want to deal with making a decision towards a sale, and they might end it abruptly. Don't automatically assume that the problem is on your end. Okay, really evaluate, apply some critical thinking. Plant a lot of seeds. Salespeople who generate a lot of activity have little time to mourn over the loss of one sale. Anticipate rejection so you won't be overwhelmed by it, and give failure minimal attention and keep on calling. Okay, the key to being successful at selling is to get rejected, look at the optimization data, evaluate, and get back and do it again and again and again. And you'll continuously make improvements. You make improvements in your communication skills. You'll make improvements in the various points that you bring up to influence a buying decision. You can get better at overcoming objections preemptively, and so forth. Number 1. Here are 11 top-notch suggestions to improve your listening skills, which is very important when it comes to consultative advisory selling. Most of consultative advisory selling is listening, because the goal is to ask questions stimulate responses from your prospects and listen and try to find their pains and frustrations. A lot of listening. And then from there, craft the offer. Number one, let your customers tell their stories first. Remember, you can't listen and talk at the same time. Listen for psychological needs. These are needs other than what the prospect may mention. Listen for the main ideas. What is central to the prospect? Don't lose concentration and miss the speaker's main message. Take brief notes regarding important data. React to the message, not the person. Don't allow the mental impressions of the speaker to influence your reaction. Number 8, listen selectively. Listen in such a way that you can uncover hidden messages. Number 9, relax. When the prospect speaks, try to put them at ease. Number 10, don't criticize your customer's point of view. And number 11, listen attentively and ask good questions. These are different elements that can help you with the selling process. Now, risk reversal, as we mentioned earlier, is one of the important factors for influencing a buying decision. If we could reduce the risk or eliminate the risk over to the prospect, they're more likely to take an action. So Jay talks about the better than risk-free guarantee, which enables you to do something that a basic guarantee or risk reversal approach does not. When you utilize a better than risk-free guarantee, you're acknowledging and rewarding the client for the value of both his or her time and faith expended in favoring you with his or her purchase decision. When you tell me that if I am dissatisfied for any reason whatsoever, you will not only give me a full and immediate return on my purchase price, but you promise me an additional reward on top of that, a compensation incentive for having taken the time, effort, and faith to purchase in the first place, I'm impressed. So that is a better than risk-free guarantee. And it's less likely going to lead to a no, because it shows that you're committed to the success or the results of your clients, and you're so confident in what it is that you're offering, and you know that they're there in front of you because they want to get the results. They're just apprehensive on making a decision because of taking the risk, and by offering them a better than risk-free assurance proposition like that, they will more likely take you up on it, and they will feel more confidence in you. When two parties come together to transact, always remember, one side is always taking or asking the other, consciously or subconsciously, to assume more of the risk. If you ask someone to take on all the risks, the first inclination is not to buy. And when you're influencing a buying decision, remember that their money is seeming like a greater risk. And so thus we want to reduce the risk by incorporating the better than risk-free guarantee or any kind of risk reversal to reduce that barrier. Here's some examples. Did you ever subscribe to a magazine or newsletter and the reason you subscribed was because they gave you a 30, 90, or 60-day, no questions asked, 100% money-back guarantee? That's a risk reversal. As president of Chrysler, Lee Iacocca took only $1 annual salary and stock options that would pay off only if he improved the company's bottom line. This is the proposition that he made to reduce the risk for Chrysler because he was confident. When you're reducing the risk, you've got to have something that is actually going to be able to be something that you can fulfill on, that is of such a high quality that the client won't need to revert back to exercising that guarantee that you promised. So we looked at various ways that you can increase your number of buyers, clients, and prospects. Now let's talk about getting clients to ethically increase their average purchase transactional value. So we're not going to get into as much detail as we did with the first one, but we can offer larger units of sale. So for example, we can offer more items bundled together, combinations being the next point, and as a result of it, they're going to spend more on that initial transaction. Using point-of-sale promotions or their equivalent. You'll see this when you go to stores, is you're about to buy some things and you'll see a little display, and on the display there'll be a special offer or something that's only positioned by the cash register, so you'll pick that up like an impulse buy. Now, those work really well because that's when you're making a buying decision, you're more likely to take an additional product or service at that point of purchase. So for example, when you go and buy a car or used car, they usually bundle or they offer you these other additional services like detailing or maintenance or something. Bundling products and services together. Remember, we want to do this in a way that adds more value to the client, because if you do this in a way that just comes off as you're just trying to add more stuff over there, you're going to break the connection, break the trust that you've had established to move your prospect over that buying decision. You can increase prices. Now, when you're increasing prices, it's important to increase prices based on value, not just increasing prices because you feel like it. There are many ways of increasing your value. Better marketing. You can add more features that result to greater benefits to your clients and thus warrants increasing the pricing. Exclusivity. Perhaps your time, your resources are less available now, and thus increasing the prices increases the value, because Cialdini's scarcity principle, thus what is rare we hold to higher regards, what is limited quantity and limited availability we're willing to pay more for. This is why when they release products and services, sometimes they release it in a limited quantity. Changing your profile of your products and services and offering greater or larger units of purchase. Number 3, increasing transactional frequency, getting more out of the relationship. Here are 6 ways of doing this. Number 1, developing a back-end line of products and services. I mentioned this. You can make money on the front end, or you could break even on the front end and realize that you've now created a relationship with a client, and provided that you delivered good value, they're more likely to come back and buy other products and services for you, so you can create a back-end product lines of service. The next thing we want to do is we want to communicate personally with our clients. We want to reach out to them on a regular basis and seek to find any kinds of pains or frustrations that they are having with either our dealings with them or any area in their business in which you are responsible for and you can solve, or you could potentially solve, and even areas maybe outside of the scope of what you do, because there's always possibilities to work referral deals or partnership deals in which you could provide a service or partner and bring in other consultants or whoever to provide that service under your brand, or even make a referral in which you could work a referral percentage deal, or just make the introduction just to help solve the client's problem, knowing that there'll be a transference of credibility over to you, and it will position them as a higher trusted advisor to them because you are known as a problem solver. And as an entrepreneur and as a business owner, you are essentially a problem solver. So the more problems that you could solve for your clients, the better and more valuable you will be to them, and the more likely they will be excited about referring you to others. And the opportunities will continue to grow for you as far as creating profit centers. And this ties into the next point, endorsing other people's products over to your list. So what happens is, because we want to increase the transactional frequency, it's not just our products and services that we can offer or create, but it's others. We can make referrals. We can partner with others to create products and services by utilizing their assets and combining it with our assets. That can be intellectual capital, relational capital, or different kinds of opportunities that exist for fulfillment and so forth, which you might not be able to do, but if you partner with somebody else who has a fulfillment team, you could do that, and then you could work a revenue split or a percentage on profit split or a finder's fee, and as a result, you can turn another level of profit, or you can increase the value of the client because you'll be making more money on the back end. Running special events, getting them to come to special events so you can do presentations. Perhaps it's new products and services that you have to offer, or you could pool a number of vendors together and invite your clients over to that event. It could be an online event, it could be an offline event, and what you could do is everybody will be sharing the different products and services that they have to offer that potentially can benefit the clients that you have. And this is one of the important things to study, is just look at what they buy before buying from you, during the point of sale, after they buy from you, and instead of buying from you, because they will have a need to buy other products and services for their business if there's B2B, or if they're just a consumer market, what else are they buying? And if you can pool people together to promote their services over to your clients, maybe work a deal, you can also build further relationships with those other vendors, which you can create interesting strategic alliances. So running special events can add more profit over to your bottom line, and it could be a fun and an engaging way for your clients to meet each other and build relationships with each other, as well as you further and build a relationship, because it can be a fun experience. Number 5 is pre-framing or programming preemptively your clients. So this means that encouraging your clients to potentially look at the other things that you're offering because you know that it can benefit them. You've created different products and services. You've formed different strategic alliances with partners that could service them in different ways. And as a result of it, letting them know that, hey, I might be making some recommendations for things that you might want to consider because we've evaluated that it will help you, and framing them and getting them ready for those kind of promotions can be really valuable, because that way they know, and because they have trust that you will serve them, they're ready to consider these kind of options that are available that are coming up. Price inducements for frequency. And one of the first things that we could do right away to increase the frequency of transaction is realize that if you send a letter to your client within the first 5 days of buying, then you have an opportunity to offer additional products or services, because they might be using your product or service and they're getting a lot of value out of it. And because they have a really hot and fresh relationship with you and you're in their mind, that they'll probably consider other products or services like upsells and different things. So in this letter, you can thank them, and it could be an email as well or a video. You can resale the value of your company or your product or service. You can assure them that the prudence of purchasing the product or service, and letting them know of the different ways that they could use the product or service, how they can benefit and get the most out of it. Not only is this helpful to them, but it's more likely to stimulate an ongoing buying relationship with you. Spend everything you can to justify to bring in a customer, as long as the customer costs you less than he or she earns you. If you feel you can't afford to spend more than the entire initial sale profit to get a customer, just remember that you'll be making money on him or her in a few months. Start out spending only what your cash flow can justify, but after a quarter or two of reordered profits, step up the ad budget. Okay, understanding lifetime client value. Your best prospects are your existing customers. If you've been putting all your marketing effort into acquiring new customers, stop and divert some of your resources into reselling, upselling, cross-selling those same customers, okay, increasing transactional frequency, getting more utilization out of the relationship. So current buyers, after they buy, do you acknowledge them? Here's a good checklist. Do you speak to them differently? Do you treat them individually? Do you make them part of a special group and show them that you really do care and value that they have committed to being in a relationship with you, and that you will continue to serve them? What's the terminology? What's the phraseology, and how do you communicate with them? Did you truly fall in love with them? Do you appreciate them for participating in growing your business, essentially contributing to your livelihood? Do you value that they have spent their hard-earned money to continue to watch your business thrive, not necessarily for you, but for their service, but because they have contributed their resources, they bought from you, that you value it? Do you treat them special? Do you analyze categories of buyers? Okay, it's very important to segment your buyers, because buyers of products or services can potentially be segmented to have different products or services be offered to them, which might not necessarily fit the entire segment of clients who bought in the front end. But if you break it down into demographics or different kinds of criteria, you can make individualized offers to them, thus increasing lifetime transactional or lifetime client value. Are you leveraging success stories so that you can endorse other kinds of products or services that you have as a result of the success stories that have been generated from those products or services? Or are you generating success stories? Are you asking for testimonials or any kind of feedback and so forth, so you can build and enhance your products or services, and you can better help educate new potential prospects to becoming clients? Are you trying to get media? Are you trying to be a thought leader? All these things are to be kept into consideration when you want to increase transactional frequency. In other words, get more utilization out of the relationship. Now, Jay also identified 3 advanced ways of growing your business. So the 3 ways to growing your business being: get more clients and get them to buy more and then buy more often, and setting up a sequence to make this a process. And then you can step it up by the 3 advanced ways, which is number 1, penetrate new market or distribution channel every year. Create at least 1 new product or service every year. Acquiring assets, buyers, intellectual property, brand of competitive or complementary business every year on a pure performance payout. So how would you penetrate a new market? Well, start by your general vertical market products and ask, can they be taken into other markets? get ideas from looking at the profile of your current buyers, and look for how many alternative ways you can reach your market, or how what you have can be as is or with modification or a combination be taken into other markets. Create at least one new product or service every year. Start by looking at your current buyers and look at what they buy before, during, after, and instead of buying from you. And figure out how you could serve them by either creating that product or service yourself or partnering with somebody else who you could combine resources, intellectual capital, and so forth to create that product or service and offer it to your existing clients, and vice versa, offer it to theirs. Come up with the macro concept. A product from scratch takes more time and logistics. However, you can find people who have expertise with products but poor salespeople or marketers, and acquire the rights and modify their product to fit the needs of your client base and sell it to your client base. Or you could help them with their marketing and their sales and sell their stuff over to your audience, or vice versa. Use new products or services on high or low end. High-end offers, for example, later part of the selling cycles when trust is established, coaching, certain kinds of packages, high-end offers, and so forth. And you can do different kinds of packages on the front end or bonuses that are a net result of either your products and services in combination with your partner's products and services to create something that is unique, that can actually be a new bundle that you offer, which is a combination of yours and their products and services. Acquire assets, buyers, intellectual property, brand of competitive or complementary businesses every year on a pure performance basis. So again, start with a general list of buyers and look at what they buy before, during, after, instead, to give you a indicator as to what kind of products and services will be best suited. List the companies in those fields. Okay, remember, your problem is the solution to somebody else's problem, and show them that they will make a lot more money with you than by doing it themselves. And if possible, go to larger companies. Approach on doing an earnout or percentage on sales or flat rate that is based on sales generated, to make it that you reduce the risk over to them and show them that you're not competitive but complementary. And as a result, you can acquire assets, you can acquire intellectual property, buyers, and or brand even, and use that to enhance what you have, increase the perceived value, or create new products and services as a result of that to offer to your existing client base. Another one of Jay's famous strategies is his power parthenon of geometric growth. And the idea behind it is that most businesses have one revenue generating system. And once you have it refined and you've maximized it, or not maximize it, but you've optimized it to a certain degree, consider adding another revenue pillar to your business. Okay, direct sales, telemarketing, referral systems, joint ventures, direct mail, advertising, developing front end, back end, and endorsements. And then one pillar at a time. Picture a Parthenon, and adding one pillar at a time. You can do it at a small scale in the beginning and get the model working. And as you continue to add more revenue pillars to your business will grow. So we've talked about a number of different ways that you can grow your business, and these can all be pillars that you can add to your Power Parthenon to add another revenue stream. So here are some more action items that I pulled from the book that are worth discussing in relation to everything we've talked about so far. Is to upsell and downsell or resell. Step one is to upsell or resell at or immediately after the initial sale, preferably at the point of purchase. Next is to contact or visit a customer right after the sale to see how they like their purchase and offer them a deal on a related product or service. Secure the rights to high profit and repeat type products or services that are logically suited to your new customers, and follow up with calls, visits, or mailings to see those other products. And if you don't want to push other people's products or services, you can turn over your leads or prospects to other companies whose products and services are compatible and take a flat fee per lead or percentage on the sale. If you have a consumable repeat sale product or service, set up a regularly monthly, quarterly, semi-annual, or annual contract strategy based on testing. Be the first to approach them about new products or merchandise you are willing to reserve for them. If they'll call you, come in, or send back a card, for example, a postcard. The most profitable thing you'll ever do for your business is to understand and ethically exploit the marginal net worth of a customer. If you haven't calculated your customer's marginal net worth, here's how you can do it. Number one is to compute the average sale and your profit per sale. Number 2, compute how much additional profit a customer is worth to you by determining how many times he or she will come back, and be conservative. Then precisely figure out what a customer costs by dividing the marketing budget by the number of customers it produces. Then look at the cost of a prospect the same way. Then figure out how many sales you can get for so many prospects, or the percentage of prospects who become customers. And then compute the marginal net worth of the customer by subtracting the cost to produce or convert him or her from the profit you expect to earn from him or her over the lifetime of over him or her's business dealings with you. Another method you could use to boost your profits is telemarketing, as mentioned. What would happen, for example, if somebody from a company you're familiar with, whom you'd liked and trusted, had a good relationship with, called you up and offered you a proposition on either a product or service, or a package, or a combination of products and services that was only being made available to an exclusive group of customers and not normally available, or an item that was not normally stocked, but that store could manage to get it if you were really interested in it. Chances are, if this was something you were excited about, you'd probably agree to be purchasing. Jay also believes that business owners must observe their customers closely to clearly understand their needs. Spending an entire day with a client can teach you a lot about what their pains and frustrations are, what their hopes, their desires, how they believe reality to work, their business operations, how their staff operates, the procedures that they have in place, and it can help you uncover many different kinds of opportunities for ways that you could serve them, either by allocating your resources to help them, or to find others that you can partner with that you could serve your clients better, either through a referral or just bringing them in to helping them solve their problems. You position yourself as the trusted advisor in the eyes of your clients. And many other businesses do not want to invest this kind of time in getting to know the clients. However, it's important to realize that if you invest this kind of time with one client, then you'll probably find similarities of the kind of clients you want to target, the different prospects that you want to target that are similar to these kind of clients. And that will help you with your marketing and advertising efforts, because you'll be better equipped with data to go out there and look for various different kinds of platforms or different places where other prospects exist that are similar to your clients. So doing some research when it comes to working with your clients and actually investing time by being on site with them can pay off by giving you a really deep understanding of how their business and industry works, and also help you with identifying key elements that make up identifying the prospects that you want to target. One of the things that I did when I was building my IT business is I had a section of my business where I would create point-of-sale systems for restaurants and cafes. And a handful of times I spent the day working in the restaurant, just to get a feel of how they operate and how they interact with the point-of-sale system, and looking for various kinds of opportunities to optimize the point-of-sale system, which was built in an open source software called OpenBravo, to serve the clients better. This is the kind of information that I would not have been able to gather by interviewing the clients, because they don't see it from the technology perspective. And a lot of times they might be too involved with what they're doing that they don't see the other opportunities for efficiency, because their time, energy, resources, opportunity costs is allocated elsewhere. So by you going in, you're looking at it from a different perspective while experiencing what it's like to actually be operating the business with the client. Going out to the selling floor and handling about 2 to 3 dozen sales transactions once a week to better comprehend what the customer's interests are and what motivates them to buy. If you have an entrepreneurial organization or just an organization in general, it's worth investing time if you don't do the sales. Although I believe it's good to get good at sales in general as an entrepreneur. But if you have outsourced it, or if you've brought somebody on to help you with managing a sales team, going out and actually doing some sales calls or being involved with the selling process can help you identify efficiencies, inefficiencies, opportunities that may exist that you can optimize. And perhaps there's different kinds of growth potential with your sales reps that you as an entrepreneur have identified, but maybe your sales manager or your sales team has not identified, and you can bring in proper training or education to grow your sales team. You should also take customer service calls and reread all the indicative customer complaints. See, when your clients are reaching out and connecting with your team and they're resolving issues, it's unreasonable to assume that they're going to report everything to you. So what happens is you can get very disconnected from your clients. And remember, any communication that you have with your clients is going to give you lots of optimization data for your business. So what are the different ways, Jay is saying, that you could interact with your clients to gather valuable data to change aspects of your business, to evolve aspects of your business to a higher degree of output, for a higher degree of service to your clients, to grow your business further? New opportunities to grow your business, sales opportunities, new markets that you can tap into, and even optimizations to improve your operational efficiency so you can get more yield, so you can put processes in place, reduce unnecessary expenses, and increase the lifetime client value. Because if you're hearing out and you're participating in interacting with your clients and you're trying to really go deeper with the complaints that they're putting out there or any kind of frustrations that they're having, you can identify different areas where you could resolve. And then what happens is that increases the bond, like and trust between you and the client, which then is going to increase the likelihood they're going to come back and buy other products and services from you. So now let's get into the next point, education-based marketing. The cornerstone for your marketing plan, according to Jay, should be to educate your client. You first educate them on your products or your service. So you don't assume that your clients understand what you do, how you do it, who you serve, and why they are a great match for what it is that you're offering, your product or service. Now, they might be in the market and looking for certain kinds of products or services, but what they're really looking for at a deeper level is someone to serve them best. And by serving them best, you have to remember that a lot of times they don't understand deeply the various scope of elements that can make the service experience even better for them. So you have to educate and connect how you differ, okay, unique selling proposition. How do you differ from the rest of the marketplace offering the same products or services, and how can you serve them better? So let's discuss these elements, and this is all part of education-based marketing. Taking your customer by the hand. People need to be explicitly told how to act to obtain your product or service. Therefore, it is incredibly important to incorporate this in every sales call, letter, commercial, or personal contact. If you are reaching out to prospects and you are connecting with them, it's important to give them education in the discussions that you're having with them to help them understand how what you have to offer can better serve them. What is the unique way you can go about serving them better than anyone else? And if you can't do that, perhaps there's some opportunity to find different ways that you could serve them. Now, always remember, it's about them. It's not about you. It's not what you think you got to do to serve them better. It's about what will actually serve them better. So you got to get out of your own head and get into their mind, into their heart, and figure out what those pieces are. And then when you've established that connection with them, you got to give them a very specific call to action, an action to take. Whether it is buy the product or service, or join an email list for sending more information, or if it's social media, ask them to follow you on a certain platform so they can get more information and connect with potential other buyers so they can experience what it's like to deal with you. There always should be a behavioral change or an action that needs to be taken. And this should flow very naturally. It should flow very naturally. And different actions for different prospects. Okay, so sometimes what happens is it might not be appropriate to ask for the sale, especially if it's a big ticket item. Say you're selling something for $10 or $20 or $30,000. If you get on a phone with a prospect and they've never met you before, unless they're really qualified and you have just a really high level of an ability to convert, and it has to be reasonably so it can't be just manipulative because we don't want to do that, then what happens is they're getting to know you. They have to, decide whether you are trustworthy to invest $20 or $30, $40,000 of their capital. And so they're getting to know you. So there's a lot of back and forth. And a process like that, a big ticket sale, can span multiple calls. It could span even weeks and maybe even months. And so that being said, you got to be able to, at each one of those calls, move the process forward towards the sale. And it could be different call to actions. It could be, well, think about it, take it back to your team, and I'll connect back with you next Thursday. So we can actually pick a time right now. What time is good for you where I can contact you next Thursday? That's still a call to action, and it's very specific and it's very clear. It helps them understand that you come from a place of authority. Remember the 3 elements from The Charisma Myth by Olivia Fox-Cabane? Power, warmth, and presence. Okay, so you got to be with them. That's the warm part. You can't be pushy. You got to be present and understanding what their pains and frustrations are and the dynamics that they're involved with when it comes to making that decision. And they got to feel that you're connected with them throughout the consultative selling process. And power meaning that you've got direction. You're going to lead them. You're going to take responsibility to lead them. And clarity and making sure that they understand the call to action and what they need to do next is very important. Otherwise, you'll come off as not being reliable. And you might just end up losing the sale because perhaps they were interested, but because you didn't move them down the next step of the process, they will just move on to something else that they're going to doing and not really get the value as a result of doing business with you. If you're selling an impulse item, or if the offer is for a limited time, tell your prospect to get in touch with you immediately. Don't be abstract. If you deal by phone, tell them to pick up the phone and call a specific number. So always remember the principles from Robert Cialdini's influence psychology principle. Scarcity is a influencing factor when it comes to a buying decision. What is rare and what is not valuable, or I'm not going to say valuable, but what is not available. What is not available for a long period of time and is only available for a limited time can increase the perception of the client's belief that the product or service is more valuable. And we have to do this in an ethical way. And there are ways of doing it, limited quantity and so forth. Thus will allow us to potentially increase the price. However, we've got to let them know about that. We've got to say, look, if you are interested in this promotion that I'm putting out, then you can make a decision up to December 6th, and our promo is running till then. So you've got some time to decide upon that. But I'll reach out to you a couple days before that just to remind you if you haven't already considered it. Something like that. But you got to be specific if it is a limited time to let them know clearly that they got to order by this certain date or the offer is no longer valid. In email marketing, and again, referring back to the Roy Furr video that I did, this could involve sending multiple emails, even sending an email a couple hours before the promo is about to end and just remind those that were prospects that haven't bought yet that the opportunity is still available should they choose to pursue it. And always remember to, when you're doing these kind of things, to keep into consideration Jay's strategy of preeminence. I'm going to put a link in the description to the video of the strategy of preeminence. And the idea is to provide a level of connection where you're with them. Okay, you're not this provider of product or services just out there to do a transaction. You're interested in their growth and in their success, and you are going to guide them to the best decision. And you're not going to sell things to them just to make money, but you're going to sell things to them that are of value, that they're going to benefit from. And as a result of it, the phraseology and the words we use is connected with them. Now, this is especially true if you're looking to acquire a higher level of clientele, those that will make a premium investment, spend more money. Because they're used to being approached by different people and asking them for money and so forth to buy different products or services. And they're looking for something a little bit more premium because they're willing to pay more. And actually a lot more premium in a lot of cases. They want to be treated with a certain level of dignity and respect during the selling process. And if you come off as pushy or slimy, they're going to feel disconnected with you. And they're going to think you're just out to make a quick buck and you're not interested in their success or whatever the results is that you're promising with your product or service. And they're going to go elsewhere. So phraseology and using words and being very graceful in your communication while still keeping in consideration that you got to move forward in the interaction towards the sale can be very beneficial. I did a discussion of Way of the Wolf by Jordan Belfort, which he has his straight line selling system, which is an amazing selling system. I recommend you study that system because he incorporates these pieces in there. And I'll put a link in the description so you could study that particular video. Tell them why. Whenever you make an offer, ask for the sale, run an ad, have a salesperson make a proposition to a customer or prospect, or offer a product or service for a sale at a specific price, always tell them the reasons why. And remember, it has to be what's in it for them. Okay, it can't be like, because we have the best product or service out there, and that's that. They might not be thinking, well, you've got the best product or service out there, but how does that benefit my specific needs and pains and frustrations? What does best really mean? So you got to get specific, and you got to tell them why. This is really one of the main reasons why I enjoy connecting with clients and prospects on a regular basis. This gives me tons of information for phraseology and pain points that are universal, that exists in all the prospects and clients, or most of them, so I can connect directly when I'm giving them the reasons why to their particular unique pains and frustrations. Why can you sell a product or service at a lower price than your competitor? Is it a lower overhead or volume buying? Do you buy odd lot inventories? Do you not give all the services? Why is your price so good? So if you offer a discounted price, what are the reasons why? Why is it so limited in pricing? Is it because that the reason why you do it is to start the relationship with them, and you want them to try out and realize that you have unique systems in place and a methodology that will allow you to deliver on the quality while keeping your costs very low? That is a trade secret that you have versus your competitors who have high overhead because maybe they are encountering a lot of wastages in your business, and you figured out ways to overcome that. If your price is high, tell the customer or prospect why. Why do you offer the product far superior than norm? Do you offer the product that is far superior than the norm? Is your product made with demonstrably finer materials? Is your product designed to last or perform 2.5 times longer than your competitors? Why is your price so high? Is it handmade? Is it made twice as durable? What are the reasons why your prices are high? Is it because of your expertise and your credibility and your level of ability to deal with such amazing complexity that you are sought after and high demand? And here are the reasons why. Look at these testimonials. If you're a business consultant, for example, that would be really good. If it's a high ticket item, or I would say a higher price point based widget or clothing or some element like that, what makes yours a premium price product? Is it the quality? Is it handmade? Do you go through a process where you got to invest resources to ensure that it's at a higher standard? Was there a lot invested in research and development because it better serves the client? Remember, it always has to be about the client. Why is your price high? Is it handmade? Is it made twice as durable? If the price of the package or the package is especially appealing value, tell me or the customer why you're making this offer. Is it because I'm going to order from you for the first time and it's an exclusive offer to first-time customers? Or is it because you got a great price or purchase on all the parts of the components in the package and you want to pass the savings on to me? Or is it because you're overstocked and you want to get your capital out of slower moving inventory, so you're willing to sell at a loss? If you can give the customer or client reasons as to why you have priced everything accordingly, it helps them to understand better why that price is so. And this creates a level of connection and trust with you, because a lot of businesses might not go this far to explain it in their process of selling. Make yourself an expert. Okay, reposition your company as the source for industry information, as the expert in the industry, and you'll be amazed at the increase in business that results. So don't see yourself as a provider of services or products. See yourself as the expert in the industry. Train yourself, educate yourself, and learn the different aspects about your business to raise your status and be part of different organizations. Connect with the influencers and those that are in the industry so that the credibility can be spilled onto you, so that they can realize that you have access to better ways of serving them and that they can rely upon you for expertise in a broader and deeper area than others that are providing that same product or service. And as a result of this, you'll be able to charge more of a premium because you'll attract the clients that want more of a nuanced based quality experience. And you'll be able to serve them authentically so because you are the expert in the industry. First, do some homework. Read everything you can get your hands on and keep informed on industry trends, developments, and forecasts. Maintain a high level of focus to position yourself as the authority. And this could take a bit of time as you cultivate the skill and understanding and knowledge. Okay, maybe in the earlier stages, you're at a certain level of understanding of how the market operates in that niche that you've chosen. But make a commitment while you are doing your sales, while you're doing your fulfillment and doing everything to grow your business, to add to the knowledge base that exists of that particular industry and your clients and so forth. And make a commitment to do that over the long term, because then the level of expertise that you have will be recognized by your clients, and different kinds of educational material that you put out will help them realize that, wow, this person knows a lot about this area. Okay, this person is so full of knowledge, so full of education in this area of expertise that I can't really find anywhere or anyone else that could serve me in this level, so I want to deal with this person. You can have somebody ghostwrite a book or report for you that you can disseminate through press releases, trade journals, or have the publication available free to anybody who wants it. Now, why would you do this? Why does somebody go about writing a book or report? Number one is it positions you as an authority. If you have a social media presence, that also positions you as an authority. Okay, that's another way of doing it. However, a person that can put out valuable information to consolidate and demonstrate their level of expertise, again, not to show off, but to bring value to the client, to educate the client on the buying decision, the person that can do that will have a distinct advantage. So this is why you'll see a lot of authors in the business consulting world, for example, put out books, because right when they put out that book, and if it becomes a bestseller, they land a whole bunch of consulting deals, they get way more opportunities, because just putting out the book positions them as an authority figure. Now, that can be true even for a report. All right, so you can generate and create a report, and people can go to your website and they can get this report where it covers certain elements that educates the prospect on the value that you provide, but also gives them valuable information that they can take and apply and start to solve the problem, perhaps even solve the problem and help them uncover long-term maintenance to continue whatever that is. For example, if you are in the fitness realm, then you can generate a report on helping them achieve the goal that all your prospects aim to achieve, and it can go beyond just losing weight and building more muscle. Maybe they're a specific demographic, and they have unique concerns, unique areas that are pain points. You address that in the report, you help them get that solution, and you show them that there are different ways of maintaining that, because when it comes to fat loss and maintaining or just getting to an ideal body weight, there's also a maintenance process. It's not just about getting to this goal and then binging again and gaining all the weight back, but maintaining it. And then you could show them different ways that they can maintain it, perhaps by participating in your coaching program or your training program, personal training program. This differentiates you from the other personal trainers out there because they're not willing to do this. Okay, they don't have resources that they can send somebody to. The resources, the reports, the books, remember, are not just to educate the client and give them the action items, but they're also designed to build credibility, because they're looking at the reports in the book and they're saying, this person is at a higher degree of professionalism. This person really cares. They've taken the time to write and put together this material because they want to serve me. And they operate from such a place of abundance that they realize that, hey, they can give me all this information, I could take it and apply it, and I could produce some results of my own, and I don't need to necessarily bring them on. But I'm going to bring them on anyways because they have this level of care for me, and I'll need other things from them. So always think about ways of educating your clients with books or reports, not just for the education, but the credibility and the trust that you can establish. If you kind of reflect back on the theme of everything we've discussed so far, you realize that to build your business, you've got to establish trust with the marketplace and maintain that trust over the long term. And when you have that trust, they will come back and buy more and more and more. And everything that we're talking about right here is helping you gain more of that trust, helping them realize that you're a better option, and thus that will open up more possibilities for not just direct business that you can do with them, but indirect. Remember, looking at what they buy before, during, after, and instead of buying from you, and looking for ways to serve them in those areas, either by you creating businesses to serve them in those areas, because you'll have an existing client base, or partnering with others to create and fulfill on those areas that can serve them. People desperately need to be acknowledged and told that they're important. Educate them without making them feel stupid, and direct them to action. Okay, so in your education, especially when you're dealing with a premium market, remember this, there are those that are very astute in understanding and reading nuance. They want to be educated and they want to feel important. They want to feel that you're trustworthy, but they do not want you to be condescending. So you have to learn how to communicate in a way that speaks with them, not at them. Now, in the beginning, you might come off as being overly telling people what to do and authoritative and so forth. But once you start to develop communication skills, real communication skills, and actually when you interact with your prospects and clients more often, which will also cultivate your communication skills, you'll learn how to communicate in a way that they feel connected with you. Okay, this is where you have to strip out your ego, take it out of the equation of saying like, I'm the expert, I know what I'm talking about, and realize that these are your clients and they're the reason why your business is even there in the first place. And your goal is to help them feel connected with you. So educating them without making them feel that they're worthless or whatever is the key. Actually, the art is to be able to educate them while getting them excited and confident and empowered within themselves. If you can do that, then you've gone into something that is really powerful. Preemptive advertising. The first person to tell the public something, even something that every other company is doing, if the public doesn't know anything about it, it sounds like a profound revelation. So the idea behind this is to talk about why you do what you do as a business and an organization. What is your story and how did it come to be? And this is very easy to do with social media marketing and having on your website your story of how you came about to be. The power behind this is they feel connected to you. They realize that you're a real person and that there's a history and a vision and a purpose behind your company and what you do as an entrepreneur. And as a result of that, they're going to be influenced to make a decision to do business with you because they want something. And nowadays you'll see this is more common than ever before. People are interested in sending their business towards small business, mom and pop organizations, and little companies that have a story, that have a history behind it, because they feel more meaningful to do this contribution of growing a business while bringing their business over there and telling others that, they go to this coffee shop and there's a story behind it and so forth, or they go to this website and they get training for whatever kind of training course, and the person behind it has the story and so forth. They feel connected and they feel very patriotic about this connection that they have. And this is more important today than ever before. So incorporating in your marketing and peppering it in there, and even necessarily, if you need to, put it on your website, the story of how you came about to be, and in a way that serves the audience as well and is connected with your prospects. So always remember this. We want to tell our story in a way that is going to educate how we came to be, and it has to be compelling and interesting, even if your competitors or whoever is still doing that stuff. The first one who tells the story actually positions themselves as more valuable to the mind of the prospect, and you have to do it in a way that speaks to the prospect's desires. Okay, so the prospect has to feel related. For example, if you're a single mom and you have a story of how you created your business and all the different experiences of how you have overcome challenges and different ways that's relatable to single moms, then by putting that kind of information on your website and really connecting to the experiences that the other single moms have can be really beneficial in your positioning strategy, because they're going to want to do business with you because they feel that you understand them than somebody else who maybe does not have that experience. And so thus you serve that niche. Now, somebody else who offers that same product or service might have a different story and a different way about going of things and are having different life experiences and so forth. Maybe they don't have kids, but they'll also speak to a different segment of the audience, and they'll have to relate their story to that segment of the audience. Now, that doesn't mean that also if you're from a different segment than another individual that you can't partner with each other in creative ways to serve a broader array. Because although one of you will be targeting a specific segment and the other will be targeting another specific segment and telling the story that relates to the segment of the audience, when you've both built businesses, or there's multiple businesses that have been built in the same market but in very different sub-niches based on the unique selling proposition, unique pains and frustrations of a market segment, they can then come together and connect and figure out ways to serve the entire broader spectrum of the market or each other's segment in better ways. And that creates very powerful, strong joint venture and strategic alliance opportunities. Remember, people don't appreciate what you do for them unless you articulate it. So this is very interesting because this is the whole experience. For example, if you go to a premium restaurant, and you sit down and it's a higher price point dinner, what you'll notice is that the waiter will come by and tell you the story a little bit about how the experience came to be. Might even bring up some experiences that the other clients have had, some interesting experiences that they've had within the restaurant to help build upon the story and the theater of the experience. They'll tell you about the chef and the chef's background and the long arduous journey to learn the various culinary skills that they've acquired to make the specific dish that you're ordering, and how it's different and unique and maybe has a different kind of taste that they'll notice to pay attention for certain tones and things like that. That's a way of enhancing the value of the experience for the client. Now, when you can enhance the value of the experience of the client by conversing, and I agree with Jay when it comes to the most important selling is consultative advisory selling, and direct response marketing being the best kind of marketing. I say that consultative advisory selling can be incorporated in everybody in the organization, even at the restaurant. Obviously, the waiter, waitress is going to be doing the selling, but everybody else should be educated on the process of consultative advisory selling and the importance of articulating, the value. And when somebody is taught how to do this, it's not necessarily designed to just get more money and get them to sell more things, but it enhances the experience of the client. And when you enhance the experience of the client, you're going to have a conversation with them anyways. Might as well make it a good conversation that's in their favor and their benefit, that enhances their experience. Then that justifies the higher price that you charge for the food or the experience, because they don't just go there for the food, because they can go anywhere. Yes, the food has to taste good and so forth, but they go there for the overall experience, the entire experience. Everything from who greets them in the door, brings them to the table, the waiter and waitress, and so forth, and everything. Everything can be enhanced by applying preemptive marketing, by articulating the value, by enhancing the experience, and applying in the process consultative advisory selling. Because it's not just selling the product or service, as mentioned. It's selling the idea. It's selling the value. And this is done through the conversation and explanation and discussion and education. So here are some components to keep into consideration. 8 of them. Describe in detail the components, construction, method, or process that goes into the creation, manufacturing of your product. Now, you can be involved with a broad spectrum of different businesses, and these will usually tend to be universal. You can figure out a way to take these points here and apply it to whatever industry and business that you're in. That's actually one of the greatest things that I had learned from Jay. Okay? Jay had acquired his expertise by figuring out what works in one industry or one business, adapting and adopting it to another business or another industry. A lot of times what happens is you got one industry and they have these ways about doing business that is really effective and really efficient and serves that market really well. But they don't connect with other industries out there who also have proprietary and cool ways of serving the audience, the market. When you start to go out of your industry and connect with people in other industries, you start to discover all these cool ways of serving the marketplace that you can adapt and adopt and enhance what you're doing right now. So always keep that in consideration as we're going through this information here, is even if I give specific scenarios, you got to reflect upon it and say, how does this apply to serving your market? How does this apply to your business? So describe in detail the components, construction, method, or process that goes into creation or manufacturing of your product. Number 2, spotlight all the unique advantages or characteristics of your product or service compared to your competitors, such as life expectancy, warranty, service policy, cost, craftsmanship, money saving, etc. Number 3, compare the performance or useful life of your product against your competitors. And if the case for yours is on a dollar cost basis is superior, say so. Use testimonials. Number 5, describe the problems they will avoid if they buy your product or service. Number 6, use all the benefits and advantages of your product and service. Number 7, point out all or any of the prestige or status value elements of your product or service to your clients. Number 8, advocate the selection of your product over the competition, but offer solid reasons why your product is superior on cost, value, construction, or performance basis. These are all the different kinds of elements that you can keep into consideration when you are applying preemptive marketing. Now, educating the client and preemptive marketing go hand in hand. Remember, it's about the client experience. So by explaining to them the process of how you go about doing things is helping them understand why you're a better choice while you're educating them. So you're not talking about yourself. You're not saying we're better than because of this, because of that. In the process, if you throw in the education that better serves them, that enhances their experience, and the phraseology might be different in different industries, but it's universally so that preemptive marketing and education-based marketing is very powerful. And when done in a way where it's not pushy and actually very conversational, and it stimulates in their mind, it stimulates in their mind, not by telling them, but by stimulating, then you're onto something really powerful. Okay, the thought that you are trying to have them realize, which is to do business with you, is being provoked by all these different kinds of marketing, not in a pushy way. Okay, that is a powerful art. Once you get that, you are a good marketer. Now let's talk about power partnering, another one of Jay's pinnacle strategies. Okay, joint ventures, strategic alliances, building relationships with those that serve your audience, and endorsement deals and so forth, which can really build and enhance your business really fast, is under the category of power partnering. So this is what we do. We start with a generic list of your buyers and ask, what do they buy before, during, after, and instead of buying from you? What do they buy before buying from you? Okay, they buy different things. You have a prospect and they buy different products and services in a broad spectrum of areas. If you can figure out what your prospects are buying, because they're probably pretty similar, then you can look for ways of serving them. What are they buying during buying from you? In other words, the point of sale, point of purchase. What are other things that they would buy, but you're not offering at the point of purchase? What about after? Okay, after they buy from you, they're going to go somewhere else and buy other things. For example, if you're in fitness, and that's a great example because there's a lot of different combinations. And in every industry, there's a lot of different combinations, but that's a very easy to articulate example for me. If they're buying personal training from you, and that's what you're offering, they're probably going to go out and buy other things. They're probably going to buy supplements. They're probably going to go out and buy different kinds of material and so forth, like books and so forth, to keep them motivated. How can you get a piece of that action? How could you provide that? Maybe you need an e-commerce store, or maybe you got to offer them some kind of subscription service where you give them supplements. I know personal trainers that have food prep services that they've created as a result of serving their clients better, because their clients are very involved with all the projects that they're involved with, and as a result, they don't have time to cook the nutritious foods, and they don't have access to restaurants or little takeout places that serve the quality and caliber of food required to maintain the regimen. And so the personal trainer connects with another company who does catering and does delivering of the food service, and they make a profit on that. And what about instead? If they buy personal training services, what else do they buy? Well, they probably buy supplements and all these different kinds of things instead of personal training, thinking it's going to result in whatever breakthrough they're going to get. And if they're buying supplements, probably they're considering going to the gym, and maybe some don't go to the gym or don't exercise but just try to take the supplements. How could you, if you are offering supplements, generate those leads to a personal trainer, maybe an online coach and so forth? A lot of creative ways of doing it, and unique ways of doing it that once you start doing it, you'll realize these profit centers that others don't even look at. But however, they're built on the foundational principles, because what's covered in Mr. X is many different examples. However, they're foundational principles. And once you understand the foundational principles of marketing and selling, you can do all kinds of cool things. And everyone's like, wow, this person is doing some cool tricks. But the tricks are really built on the foundation. They're not really tricks. They're just different spin-offs of same foundational principles. So again, before, what does your buyer profile buy before they buy from you? All right. Remember, the faster you start the relationship, the faster the first sale. The faster the first sale, the faster the second or third sale, because they've got a relationship with you. Jay's got a process called the 93 referrals, or a program that he created. And there are many different referral strategies. So you can generate referral-based businesses for what you are offering your client and what they buy before you, and looking at what they buy before you and finding others, and you can refer your clients over to the others who will provide those services or products that they will buy before buying from you. And distribution channels, endorsers, a lot of different ways that you can support and serve your market in what they buy before they buy from you. You can even buy or sell a qualified list. Now, obviously, you have to do this with permission, or you can mail out to your existing list for other products and services that you do through partnerships that they were going to buy before buying from you anyways that you don't serve, and thus serve them and create a profit center by sending them over to a referral. During, ethically increase their average purchase transactional value. That's one of the most important things that we can keep into consideration to get more money out of the sale. Ethically increase average personal transactional value or purchase transactional value. What does that actually mean? You can partner with anyone to create and fulfill on larger units of sale. You can partner with anyone to create combinations and bundle your products together. Okay, you can either create bundles yourself, or you can partner with others and have their stuff included in the bundle, and thus will increase the value of what you're selling, and thus you can increase the price, and you can work a split on that, increasing the transactional value. You can partner with anyone to create point of sale promotions or their audience to their audience or your audience. Can you increase prices by partnering with anyone to increase product value or perceived value? Perhaps there are certain elements that you can apply. If you've got a software or technology, certain elements that you can apply to your package at the point of sale, an upsell or something like that, for somebody else's product or service that better enhances the solution that they were going to experience, or further accelerates the solution, or adds more value and solves other problems that were probably going to arise or whatever as a result of the natural progression of whatever it is they're doing. And when they are buying the product or service for you, they have an opportunity to make those purchases that will add more value. What about after? How can you get them to come back and buy from you in various products and services that they would buy after they would buy from you? So can you partner with anyone to create or develop a back-end line of products and services? Remember lifetime client value. A lot of profit is made in the back end. Most profit, if done creatively and you know what you're doing, based on what we've talked about in this video, this is a great foundation to help you understand. Most profit comes in the back end. Okay, you can even lose on the front end, break even on the front end. You could even lose on the first 2 sales just to acquire the client. It'll be totally worth it because that's how you establish the relationship. And then you'll be able to offer new products and services that they were going to buy anyways. And you might create them yourself. You might allocate resources to create them yourself, or you can partner with somebody to create them. Can you partner with anyone who can communicate personally with your clients or theirs and influence a sale, a buying decision? Perhaps you can bring somebody to look at your current buyers that you have, and you can say, what are different ways I could serve these clients? And they'll give you some insights and perspectives, and then you go out and find partners that are great communicators and have a great marketing system and a sales system in place and a complementary product that your clients would benefit from after buying from you to enhance the service that you have rendered or the products that you're selling. And they have a great way of communicating with your clients and can really educate them and apply all the education marketing stuff that we talked about to influence another buying decision in which you get a percentage of that. But it also builds the trust and credibility. And the trust and credibility obviously will be in this process transferred over to them as well. But in the process of the experience, which will be very positive, they also build further trust and credibility with you. Can you endorse their products to your list and vice versa, right? Because one of the things to keep into consideration as we get into multidimensional business growth is the opportunities that exist from partnerships. It's not just about getting people to serve your audience, but if you build a relationship with a firm or a company or an entrepreneur that serves your audience and you pay them generous commissions, now they have that trust with you, and you can figure out creative ways of promoting your stuff to their list. Okay, I've set up many broker deals with companies. One of the things I do is joint ventures and strategic alliances and creating profit centers and taking a percentage on that. And I could just do this all day. In fact, Jay was doing this for a long time and still does it, but he was really doing this a lot in the 90s and so forth, where he was setting up strategic alliances. And in many of his books, he talks about it. He created so many profit centers for himself that multiple streams of passive income were generated for him and his clients as a result of it by building relationships, strategic alliances, and looking for the connects. You're going out there, creating connections and brokering deals. And then once you got a portfolio and a database of all different relationships with people that have different assets and clients, and these are all viable opportunities that exist within the scope of each of these businesses that you've identified, and they've already got the lists and credibility and so forth of buyers that already have the like and trust with the list owner, you can connect with each of them and broker deals. You can say, okay, person A, I'll connect you with person B. I'll write the email, I'll write the promotional piece, and we'll split it 3 ways, things like that. Can you run special events or information nights to the audience? Again, going back to the earlier strategies on growing your business, the 3 ways to grow your business, we build upon it. Information nights, special events can be really powerful. But remember, if you're going to tap into somebody else's audience and the audience doesn't know you, there has to be a period where there's some time to warm you up to their audience. There's many ways of doing this. They can invite you as a guest on a webinar so their audience can get to know you, or information nights. See, special events and information nights are great live in person, but if you can't do it in person, then a lot of people are attending webinars and telesummits and so forth online, and that's how the credibility is being transferred. So there's lots of creative ways of doing it, even if you don't live in a community where you can do. Maybe you live in a country or a certain part where it's very distant from the city and so forth, and you can't really get a lot of people to attend a special or live event unless you were to go fly out and do it in a different city, which is possible, but you can also do this online. These same strategies work. Instead of buying from you, what does your prospect buy instead of buying from you, and how can you offer that to them so that they buy it from you? Again, going back to our main points, the faster you start the relationship, the faster the first sale, the faster the first sale, the faster the second, or faster the third sale. So they were going to buy stuff anyways, and if you can intersect what they were going to buy and have them buy it from you or one of your partners, you've started the relationship. And now you've started the relationship, you've built a list, and you build the like and trust and credibility, and they become a client. And you can figure out how to then move them into another product line or your product line. So we're looking at all these 4 ways here that were identified as different ways of starting the relationship, not just enhancing the relationship. Can you partner with anyone to create and develop a line of products and services and offer it to someone who has access to prospects as a front end to start the relationship? Okay, so what happens is, let's say you got somebody who's got prospects. Because as you're growing in business, you're building more relationships and more connections, because that's what power partnering is creating a database of relationships, powerful, influential relationships. And they might have the prospects, and you want to acquire those prospects to your product line, but they got to have a relationship with you in order for you to offer all the other things. But maybe your front end is not a relationship builder for them, or that's not something they're interested in, because we're looking at what they buy instead. So you partner with somebody who can create that product or service that can be offered instead of what you offer, but however, you do it through your brand or whatever, and you work out the splits accordingly. And then they buy from you, or they buy through you through a referral or an endorsement deal. And I'm being very general with this. There's a lot of nuance points. I can't possibly get into all detail in this video because that'll be even longer. But what essentially is happening is you're looking at what they're buying instead, and you are finding somebody who can offer that product. You either do it through your brand or their brand, but then the list is generated after they make the sale, and then you work a split with the person who provided the prospects. You work a split with the person who provided the product. And perhaps you take a split, or you might just give it to them both, and all you do is acquire that list and the rights to be able to market products and services to that list in a way that's conversational and that enhances the relationship, so it's not intrusive. And actually, if you need an endorsement from that list owner that has the prospects, you can work a deal with them as part of the deal to create that profit center for them, or that promotional for them, that they would endorse you to enhance the relationship further. In other words, you buy the instead, or they buy the instead, and then they get an email after saying that I also want to introduce you to Joseph, who does this and this and this, and jump on this webinar. I'm going to talk about, and whatever, and then the credibility is transferred over to you, and then they move over to your product line. And can you acquire qualified lists on a percentage of profit is another way of looking at it. There are people out there that have lists of buyers, and they might not actually go out and say, like, I'm going to sell my list. However, If you reach out to them and you have something valuable to offer their list that creates a profit center and enhances the relationship that they have with their audience, and you give them a percentage of profit of the entire front end, or maybe even more, depending on the quality of the list, then that can be really valuable because you're essentially piggybacking off the fact that they had built this massive list. Now, you have to do it in a way that's a value for their audience, okay? Because anyone who's built a very qualified list of buyers, they've nurtured that list, they're very protective of that list. So they're not going to just let you sell stuff to their list unless it enhances the relationship that they have with the audience. It grows their business, and it serves their audience even better in a unique way that they're not interested or never even thought possible of serving them. And that might not even be compelling enough for some entrepreneurs. You have to do other things to serve them. Perhaps you can help them with other areas of their business, and then they'll give you the opportunity. One of the things that I do when I've identified companies that I could do partnership deals with, that we could do mailings and they're very profitable, is I help them in areas outside of that they were going to need help with anyways. And I fulfill on whatever that help is, whether it's process or IT or marketing or whatever, outside of that opportunity that exists. And in the process of serving them, I create value for them and I build a relationship with them so they vouch for my credibility. And then when I do a proposition of tapping into the initial opportunity that I saw, they're more likely to reciprocate and want to do that deal because now they have trust and credibility. So again, it comes down to the trust and credibility that you have. Now, what we also want to look at is assets. Let's talk about assets because this is really important. So when it comes to partnering, there exists assets that are within your business, and there are assets that exist in the businesses that you have access to, your strategic alliances, your joint venture partners, those that you could potentially reach out to that have certain kinds of assets that you could partner with to create new products and services, to better fulfill services or products to your clients, add more value to your marketplace, and a lot of interesting configurations. So I want to expand and stretch your mind a bit, because when you realize that you have these assets, and a lot of times we haven't really recognized them to be assets, then all kinds of doors and opportunities start to open up. All kinds of money-making and business opportunities and efficiencies and strategies start to reveal themselves that produce results that serve the marketplace better. Now, in order to, and we've emphasized this a lot in the video so far, make more money, you have to provide more value. So one of the things that we need to always consider and really obsess over about is how to create more value in the marketplace. How to put out something that is far more valuable than what already exists, perhaps in a current space, or how to create something that is a combination of various assets and so forth that will allow you to multiply value, speed up the value, or even add value to what people are doing. And thus people will want to do business with you. I did a video on opportunity by Eben Pagan, and one of the concepts he talks about in there is emergence. And if you think of technologies like Uber, they wouldn't exist today if there wasn't a number of different assets, different kinds of opportunities that were generated as a result of the assets. The smartphone needed to be in place. Certain kinds of software needed to be created. GPS technology, a lot of different technologies which are assets in the digital space or in the tech space needed to be there first before an entrepreneur came along and said, hey, there's this need that exists in the marketplace where the market can be served better. And so let's create this app where people can make money being drivers. So that serves that need, as in more jobs. And it reduces the costs so that consumers can benefit from that as well. And that also opens up a whole bunch of other doors and opportunities for those that participate in those possible scenarios that are generated as a result of Uber, such as consulting services and different kinds of services and products that are now in a higher demand as a result of Uber being created. And all of those elements were a result of assets being combined and daisy-chained and working together and creating the service called Uber. So let's expand our mind. There are many different kinds of assets. So I have here a document Now, in the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad, he talks about utilizing other people's money, OPM. And when we realize that we can work with far more than just money, the doors open up. So there are other people's resources or assets that exist in the marketplace right now where you can gain access to them through partnerships. Other people's money, other people's time, other people's work, experiences, ideas, distribution channels, other people's customers, clients, other people's technology. We live in a time today where there's far more opportunity than ever before if we start to expand and think differently and look at things from a different perspective. One of my favorite sayings, as you know, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. So to look at all the assets that are available and figure out how to work with those assets to create profit centers is a very wise thing to do to create businesses or add more value to your existing clients, thus increasing the lifetime client value, thus growing your business, creating more money. So here are some assets that are compiled here in this list to just stimulate your mind. And these exist in potential partners that you have access to right now. Other people's associations, other people's advertisements, other people's agencies, their advice, their back end, their bonuses, their cash, their connections, and different kinds of associations that they have to other people, their databases, their software, their designs, the various expertise that they have. Now, also think about what you have. Perhaps you have expertise and they have the database, and another company might have the funding. And by pooling these resources together, you can create something in the marketplace that serves a need. Other people's friends, other people's expenses, always think about it from this perspective. If others have expenses, then you could work with them to reduce their expenses. Perhaps you can start an agency that goes out and collects their debts. You can buy their debts and go in and redeem their debts and so forth. Different ideas can be stimulated from looking at assets and resources that exist. Other people's human resources, other people's procedures, other people's ideas, their investments. Perhaps they're better off reinvesting in your business opportunity rather than their current investment strategies. Other people's intangible assets, other people's joint venture relationships. In the internet business space, other people's leads, other people's lists, other people's money, other people's markets, their mastermind groups, their networks, their opportunities, their different kinds of market strategies, their management or lack thereof, their productions, their promotions, their risks, their resources, their R&D. Perhaps other companies have invested a lot of money in R&D, and you can access that research and development and do a partnership to deal with them on a percentage of a profit. Other people's sales force. So think about this for a moment. You might have a product and service that's really viable, that's selling really well. However, one of your challenges is to acquire a sales force. Not really something you want to build in your business. Well, there are other businesses out there that have trained sales professionals that you can partner with. And what you could do is have them convert certain kinds of prospects that don't convert to their products or services through a downsell over to your products and services. Now, provided that this is obviously a niche or a customer profile that is similar to yours. Or you could leverage them by saying, look, you guys put in 5 hours worth a day calling leads and converting your leads, and the other 3 hours a day you have available capacity. How would you like to sell for our organization on those other 3 hours? We'll give you the leads and we'll help you convert. We'll give you the sales scripts, we'll give you the training and so forth. You guys have the capacity and we'll give the commission over to your sales reps, or we'll just give it to you and you can pay out the sales reps. And we'll support you in other business ventures. So that's leveraging other people's sales forces. Now, what about other people's testimonials? Think about this for a moment. There are influencers who have credibility and they serve a marketplace and they have established credibility in their niche. If you do a partnership with them, you can access that credibility they have and have them refer their products or refer their clients over to you to buy your products and services. Now, this obviously has to be done in a way where it's complementary. Other people's times, other people's warranties, other people's wholesale opportunities. There are many different opportunities that exist when it comes to working with assets. You have a whole bunch of assets that exist within your business and those that you have connections with. And you can reach out and build relationships with those that have other assets as well. And there's many assets that are freely available on the internet. For example, when I built my IT business, one of the areas that I got into is point of sale systems. And what I did was I went into open source software. I found a software called OpenBravo, which is an asset that was created by a bunch of developers to serve a need, okay? Point of sale system. I took that asset that was already developed to such a high level, customized it, tweaked it, modified it, and went out and sold point of sale systems to restaurants and retail locations. Different kinds of software, different kinds of technology, different kinds of code, snippets already exist, and these are all assets. So remember the different categories of assets, and we're just scratching the surface. If you were to sit down and brainstorm and create a list, and it's a great exercise, to list out all the possible valuable assets that you have in your business, and don't just think human capital and money and different kinds of physical property that you have and maybe some processes and some code. Try to go beyond it. Use that list that I just mentioned to stimulate you to really have a detailed list of assets. Now, why would you want to do something like this? Well, this gives you more negotiation power when you are doing deals with other people. If you have an inventory of all your assets and you're doing a business deal with someone who's a very astute entrepreneur and knows how to leverage your assets, when you bring your assets to the table, they can work with you to create mutual win-win profit centers. And also, it's a great exercise to help others that are joint venture partners, strategic alliances, generate a list of their assets so you could do triangulation deals, okay? Your assets, their assets, and finding another company, another business where you can connect the assets together to create more profit centers. So Jay refers to this as power partnering. Okay, these are strategic alliances, joint ventures, and the concept is called relational capital. Relational capital. Relational capital is the relationships that you have with the marketplace, the relationship that you have with other businesses that you can do partnerships with. And this is why I always put a lot of emphasis on developing consultative advisory selling skills and deal-making skills and communication skills. When you improve your communication skills and you become a persuasive communicator and you understand how value is interpreted by the person you're dealing with and how to connect to what they see as valuable, all kinds of doors open up. And then you can really leverage relational capital. You can connect with people, you can build relationships, and your business can grow tremendously. One of the things that I realized was a big opportunity, and I started to work with it, and really opened up an infinite amount of doors, is that I don't really have to start a business from scratch. I can go into businesses and I can create profit centers. I could work deals with them and work with their existing products or services and the various things that they're doing, and I can enhance the revenue or I can add more profit centers just by doing the things that we're talking about in this video, which a lot of business owners either don't know exist or don't really have the time, energy, opportunity, costs, and resources to allocate to executing upon. And I could take a percentage, and I've done this with a number of companies. It's actually one of the most profitable things that I can do. One of the most profitable things that I can do. So as a result of it, I do this as part of my overall business portfolio strategy, is incorporate some of these joint venture deals and take a percentage on profit. And then you can take it even further and gain equity in these companies, and all kinds of doors open up for the long term. So the philosophy, some key points to remember, is that there exists in the world different companies, media, influencers who already have invested in the market you want to reach. They've created reliability, dependability, and trustworthiness, and you can partner with them. Remember, advertising is usually the first stage when it comes to trust building, which can take a lot of our resources. Okay, you got to do paid advertising, and it's great to do paid advertising. However, if you flip your perspective around and realize that there are people that already have access to the marketplace and they can endorse you, then that kind of relationship is a lot more powerful because they already have trust with that marketplace or that audience or those prospects or those clients, which are potentially your clients. And thus, you don't need to pay for advertising. You could just pay on performance, on the leads that they generate for you or the conversion. If they generate leads for you and you convert those leads, you could just pay them on performance. Power partnering allows you to connect with those who already have the trust. And you, as a result of that, you shortcut the process. And as a result of it, you start to generate additional businesses, and you can reallocate the capital that would have been used for advertising. And I'm not saying you shouldn't do advertising, that should be part of the strategy, but you can reallocate that capital to other areas of your business that need the attention for growth and so forth. So here are 9 major benefits, just to kind of hammer this point in, to consider it. That nowadays, more than ever before, the opportunity for joint ventures and strategic alliances to create profit centers, side businesses, okay, grow your business and even have an opportunity to grow a business on the side if you're working full-time, is greater than ever before if you understand and you really grasp the concepts that we're talking about in this video. Okay, this is the meat of this book, which has been a very powerful book that has generated millions of dollars for those that have worked with the information within. As mentioned earlier, many business growth strategists, marketing consultants, business consultants, and entrepreneurs have been influenced by Jay and his information, directly or indirectly. Chances are your mentor has been influenced and learned these strategies from either Jay or someone that has taught them the strategies, which was built on the foundation of Jay's knowledge that he's acquired as a result of working in his businesses and through strategic alliance and partnerships and clients that he's acquired and observing their businesses and their industry. Really powerful stuff. So consider this as one of the key areas for money making. Number 1, you can use it to achieve advantages of scale, scope, or speed. Okay, that's what strategic alliances allow you to do, joint venturing. You can increase market penetration. You can enhance your competitiveness in local, national, and international markets. You can expand over to national and international markets if you're local. You can enhance product development as a result of working with other people's resources and assets, partnerships. You can develop new business opportunities through products and services. And you can even create new businesses at will. If you do not have an idea for a product or service, but you realize that you can go into another business and create a profit center and do these kind of things and facilitate the deals and see it through, orchestrate it through completion, and take a percentage of it, now you've essentially created a business within another business. And then you have a case study that you can then approach other businesses and do the same thing over and over again. One of the things that I've generated for myself is multiple streams of passive income. And a bunch of that income comes from doing these kind of deals. Okay, residual income that comes to me every month as a result of working with these configurations. And each one of those income sources can be scaled should I decide to do it. Okay, so if it's a choice that I want to do it, I can do it. And you can have this opportunity as well. And as mentioned, this is easier today than ever before because we can reach out to far more people easier, faster than ever before. You've got LinkedIn groups, you've got Facebook groups, you've got meetups, you've got different kinds of forums and places where entrepreneurs and business owners congregate and interact with each other. Even Instagram and YouTube has become very popular to reach out to entrepreneurs. How many of you have reached out to me? And the ease of being able to reach out to business owners, entrepreneurs, and influencers is far easier than ever before if you think strategically. You can gain control of tangible and intangible assets that you can leverage, as mentioned. You can use strategic alliances and joint ventures to sharply reduce costs and increase profits by being more effective and efficient. Perhaps you can borrow processes. You can help increase the efficiency in another business and optimizing their processes and taking a percentage on that return of efficiency that they get. There are a lot of things you can't afford to do on your own, but if you joint venture with others and only pay organizations in direct proportion, only pay for other organizations in direct proportion to the revenue that comes in, that actually is no longer a cost. It's an income stream. Okay, so think about that. So working with relational capital, here are 5 ways that you could do it to really hammer this point in further. Number 1 is identify all people that have direct access, compatibility, and trust to your market that are non-competitive and partner with them to access their clients, their resources, their opportunities, and work deals. Number 2, find people who have expertise with products but poor salespeople or poor marketers and acquire the rights to what they have exact or modified and sell on their behalf. Okay, they might not be good at marketing and selling, but their product and service is really good, and you can partner with them to execute upon that opportunity. Number 3, look for how many alternative ways you can reach your market, how what you have right now can be as is or with modification or combination be taken to other markets. Okay, your products or service. Through partnerships, you can take it to other markets. If you can't afford to acquire tech, expertise, resources, ask who has extra resources that you can partner with and pay for results. Number 5, which is the advanced 3 ways to grow your business model, one of the elements, acquire assets, buyers, intellectual property, brand, or competitive or complementary businesses every year on a pure performance-based payout. You don't have to go out and buy businesses or buy this stuff. You can set up deals, and you can do these deals on pure performance. So you don't have to throw in a lump sum of upfront capital. And remember the dimensions. Okay, there's money capital, intellectual capital, relational capital, human capital, knowledge capital. Okay, expand your thinking of what's possible when it comes to joint ventures and working with assets. And negotiations, as mentioned, it's really important to improve your negotiation skills. Pitch Anything by Warren Clef is a really good book. Learn consultative advisory selling. Study books like Spin Selling by Neil Rackham will help improve your ability to consultatively sell. So for negotiations, here's some key pointers. It has to be built on trust. They have to realize that it's non-competitive and it's a collab. You can target the same market segment and work together to broader go into the marketplace. Here's some important facts that to keep in consideration. Your product or service is absolutely non-competitive to the host product or service. In the case where you approach a competitor, point out to them that any ancillary profits will result in reworking their list after they have drawn out all the profits they can from it. This may be especially appealing to companies who own large one-time purchaser list. It's not going to take away or supplement or just suppress any of their income or profits, but it's going to add to it. It's going to augment their profits. You will create, this is a good strategy, you will create the marketing material subject to their approval. You'll take care of the overhead. And because you know your numbers and you know your profits, you'll be able to do this for them and make the barrier of entry, and it'll reduce their risk, so then they'll be more likely to do it. The host company can even have all orders routed through them for verification. And you could repeat this over and over with them, and you'll look for cool, creative ways to do it again and again. And it's purely a bonus for them to participate in something like this. Now, you can give them percentage on profit, a share of whatever you can monetize. You can give them the front end profit, because we realize lifetime client value. Sometimes it's better to just give the full profit in the front end because you're acquiring clients and you can market other products and services or your products and services to them and make money on the back end. Or you could pay for qualified leads. Perhaps they don't necessarily want to do the percentage of profit, and you say, well, we understand that you've got qualified leads, so we would like to buy with your endorsement 100 to 300 leads. And if they convert really well and it meets our criteria, we can approach you again and again and again and buy more leads from you. And we'll always make sure that we take care of them, because we don't want to treat people like transactions, and we don't want to treat their clients and their relationships at a lower level, because that's going to mess up the relationships that they have, and they're more likely not going to do that deal with you. So many different ways of looking at joint ventures. Here are some strategies that I've pulled from various different information from Jay that either he's done or he's worked with these clients to be able to perform and execute upon. And I want you to think of this, what we're going to talk about now in this section right here, as a mind stimulation. Okay, all this stuff is designed to stimulate your mind of possibilities so far of what we discussed. So these are actual business ideas and business strategies that have been implemented as a result of this information so far. So again, think about how you could either do these things directly, or with spinning it off and customizing it, apply it to the opportunities and assets that you have access to right now to create profit centers, either within your business or even start new businesses. Number 1, start a new business that you can offer in your retail store that can offer something to the existing traffic, and it could be unrelated to your core business, perhaps at the point of purchase. Instead of paying for advertising, approach list owners or high traffic location sites and work a split on revenue for the ad placements. If you do daily deliveries, work a joint venture with another business that does daily deliveries and do their deliveries on the way for a fee. Improve other business marketing and get paid only a percentage based on the added business volume. Approach other companies that send out paper billing and invoicing to clients in larger volumes and place an ad insert with an offer in there and work a split. If you have an offer that is at a price point that is too high for some of your leads, partner with a smaller scale service provider and refer business to them for a revenue split. If you're a home builder that specializes in first-time home buyers and you pay around $15,000 to attract a new buyer, approach people in apartments and offer them $5,000 cash if they agree to move out into one of your homes. Approach newsletter subscription businesses, bundle the newsletters together for a low price for a 3 to 6 month term to the customer, ask for a 25% revenue split on any extended subscriptions with each newsletter business. If you have an insurance company, start an organization so you can have a captive market. Gather a bunch of individuals together who are in non-competitive business but are trying to reach the same demographic, organize the event, but ask the others to pay for the advertising. Everyone gets to speak and promote their offers at the event. Provide the staff and the programs if you sell programs, different people that are doing sales at events and so forth. You can put CDs in the back of the room or your material at the back of the room and give them a share of the profit since they're going to do the event anyways. Get someone who has authority to be the face of your product to do your advertisements to add star power. Instead of charging consulting fees, take a percentage of the increase in revenues or savings in expenses. Buy cheap internet traffic and media, start a lead generation business, and get paid per lead generated. Get books, content, and information that is out of print but useful. Buy the rights, strip the content down into the manual, and sell it as a report. Create a product and approach a brand to put their name on it so you can mark it up and offer a split with the brand. Approach manufacturers of products and say, test these designs against yours. If they tremendously increase sales, give us 5%. If they don't use it. Post a 1-800 number on an ad that does not have one. Quantify the sales increase from the 1-800 number and work a split on the profits generated from it. Find a business that does not have an efficient phone sale force. Bring in your own and work a split on the profits generated by your sales force. Find inventory that does not get exposure. Work a deal with the owner to place in high traffic locations and work a 3-way split. Find office buildings that do yearly leases but have a hard time getting leases. Work a deal with them. Open up suites, cubicles, etc. that can be rented monthly or weekly. All different ideas that you can work with when it comes to relational capital and utilizing other people's assets in combination with yours. Now, if you wanted to take a step further and you didn't want to work with capital, then barter is a great strategy. I've done a number of different deals in business over the years with barter. I've bartered for cars to borrow. I've bartered for places to stay. I've bartered for a lot of different products and services as a result of taking my products and services and approaching people who had other assets and doing a trade. This can be very appealing because sometimes with a lot of people, when they think of money, they have resistance. But when they think of barter, which is essentially leveraging assets, they have no resistance because this can work to your advantage. Trading your products or services for better things your business needs or wants is called business barter. Barter gives you an amazing ability to vastly increase your purchasing power, sometimes as much as 10 times over. Done right, barter also gives you the effect of having almost unlimited capital. It's like having a blank check to fill in. It allows you to acquire products and services now, but pay for them much later. And the longer you take to pay, the less it ends up costing you. You can make barter a major factor in your business growth strategy. Now think of the concept of triangulation. Okay, we've talked about this with assets, but you can do this with barter. Triangulation is the use of 3 separate transactions to achieve the ultimate barter objective, or relational capital, and you can even go beyond it. So it's 3 businesses coming together to pool resources, assets, and work together to create a profit center. Or having 4 or 5 or 6 businesses come together, working together with barter, with assets. Everybody brings different things to the table. Kind of like a mastermind, except it's more pragmatic, as in you're not discussing ideas, but you're really bringing to the table the stuff that's going to make money happen. Okay, think of it from that perspective. Now, startup marketing. In the book, Jim Cook, he mentions this section here. Jim Cook wrote a book, The Startup Entrepreneur. Here's a list of must-dos, as he calls them. Let's go through these. Number 1, you must develop the ability to see the needs and wants of others. You must find a marketing gap. Number 2. Number 3, you must become a service and quality fanatic. In order to make all this stuff talking about work, You have to be integrating these principles here. Number 4, you must get started. Okay, this is really powerful information, but if you just keep consuming this information and not really doing anything with it, you're never going to get any results. Number 5, you must offer your original investors the chance to profit in a big way. Number 6, you must start small. Number 7, you must use the telephone constantly for acquiring all kinds of information. Okay, consultative advisory selling. Not just dealing with leads and clients, but strategic alliance opportunities. You must hire the best people and generate entrepreneurial excitement. See, everything we talk about in here is entrepreneurial. Okay, these are money-making strategies for the entrepreneur. However, you can instill this knowledge with everybody in your organization. It's actually recommended that you watch this video and you study this information with everybody in your organization so that everybody else can look for opportunities and you can all work together to create multiple profit centers to benefit all. Number 9, you must charge enough, meet problems head on, and collect the money up front. Number 10, you must develop a strategy that helps your business, or I should say your customers, grow, improve, or profit. Number 11, you must aim constantly to become the dominant company in your industry. Number 12, you must maintain honesty and integrity always in all of your dealings. Number 13, you must accept no freebies, government grants, or subsidized loans. Because at the end of the day, with the stuff that we're talking about, you really don't need loans. You can work with what you have right now, and you have access to far more than you think until you achieve this perspective shift and realize that there is more opportunity than we normally look at. Number 14, you must be generous to your employees with wages, profit sharing, and benefits. Number 15, you must see your company as national rather than local or regional. Obviously, with the internet, this becomes way easier. Number 16, you must develop tenacity and perseverance to survive days and nights of anxiety. Number 17, you must manage your company for constant mistake avoidance. Number 18, you must win your customers back again and again. We've talked about a number of strategies to be able to do that. Number 19, you must apply a fail-safe range of management checkpoints and controls. Number 20, you must establish a corporate philosophy that stresses quality and service. Number 21, you must develop an error-free reporting system, because if you have a lot of these moving parts in place, you got to have checks, balances, reports, and data, and analyze that data, key performance indicators. Number 22, you must constantly seek to pay minimum taxes, but always stay within the law. Number 23, you must diversify into those areas that fit and supplement your existing business. Number 24, you must find something worthwhile to do with the money you earn, okay, reinvesting the capital. Number 25, you must sell your company or service only when you are no longer excited about what you do, or if you created multiple profit centers, you could sell part of your business. So these are great ideas, startup marketing ideas, principles to live by when implementing this information in your startup or any business for that matter. But if you take the ideas over here, you can start a company that is going to be way different and way more profitable than how most people do it in a linear way, because it's a multidimensional way of thinking, and thus adopting these principles can help. One of the things that Jay has been known for is copywriting. And I always mention this, 3 most important skills: consultative advisory selling, direct response marketing, and copywriting. Okay, if you have those 3 skills, you could pretty much, you're set for life. You can go to any business and you can use those skills to create profit centers, profit yourself, and help them, and they'll value you. You could start a business, take a product or service that has not been marketed properly, and you can market that product or service. You can buy the rights for it and create a huge business. If you come up with an idea, you can go and market that idea yourself because you have these valuable skills. So copywriting is something that Jay has been known for many years. Let's talk about some points from the book and another handful of elements that I believe can further enhance your copywriting skills. So when it comes to sales letters, think of it from this perspective. Pretty much every conversation is, you could say, a sales letter. You are always persuading. Everywhere you go, you are persuading. You are revealing to people that you are the best choice to do business with or not. You are persuading them to take an action. You are persuading them to buy. And if you are not good at it, you're not going to get as much conversion. So when we're looking at these sales letter components here, think about how this is applicable in all communications that you do. Number 1, you must get the reader's attention with a powerful headline. Number 2, you must show clear and distinctive advantages in the body copy. Number 3, the letter has to prove or validate your claim of benefits or advantages through factual examples, comparisons, analysis, testimonials, or credentials. You can't just lie and say that you've got the best stuff. You've got to prove it with facts. Then the letter must be persuading the reader to reach out and seize the advantage, okay, call to action. The letter must motivate the reader to act. Okay, motivate, not tell them what to do and strong arm them. Motivate the reader to act. Respond, order, write, come in, or send back the coupon. Now, when you're copywriting or you're communicating in general, remember that with everybody you communicate with, they're always asking the question to absolutely everything you say. What's in it for me? It's not about you, it's about them. They don't care how cool you are and what success you have and none of this stuff. They want the results, they want the benefits, and if you can shift your perspective and leave your ego out of the equation, you can make a lot of money by understanding this important fact. What's in it for me? WIIFM. Now, in order to leverage this important truth, we have to recalibrate our focus over to the client, over to the prospect, and make it about them. We have to think about how to open the door, how to set up the call, and position your business more powerfully and effectively while making it about them. Okay, not by trying to convince them and getting angry if they don't buy into your reality. You have to get better at communicating. First, you got to differentiate yourself. What's different about you, and why should they hire you or buy from you to their benefit? What are their other options that they're evaluating? Here are ways to differentiate yourself. The benefits, not the features, but the benefits to them. The value you provide, quantifiably so, or in a way that they see you as more valuable, and the results that you can generate for them. Real quantifiable results, or help them believe that they, through your business dealings with other people, can expect the same results. So really narrow your focus on a target-specific marketing niche, because what happens is if you try to communicate too broad, you're missing out on really honing in and communicating to those that are interested. Now, one of the things that when I meet entrepreneurs and I talk about their product or service, I ask them, who's your market? They end up saying things like, everyone. While ideally, yes, you would like everybody to buy your product or service, the key is to recognize that how would you communicate to everyone in a marketing message? Like, this is just not possible. What we do is we segment the marketing message down to specific target markets, and we tailor it to target their pains, their frustrations, and everybody's different. However, you can group people together like 80-20 principle, and you can identify core elements that are a segment of the market in which you can keep your communication very clear and tight to that segment, and those people will buy. But if you speak to people generally as if you're talking to everybody because you think everybody's going to benefit from it, then what's going to happen is it's not really going to resonate. It's not really going to resonate. It's like going up to people randomly that you meet and say, hey, it's nice to meet you. Do you want to be friends? It doesn't really target. It doesn't really segment. It doesn't really provide value, and it doesn't really speak directly to them. But however, if you connect with people and you get to know them and use phraseology and you relate to their hobbies and interests, then yeah, they'll probably consider being friends with you. Focus on competitive advantages that you have, showcase your expertise, and as a result of this, carefully craft your message. Okay, be very specific. And remember, what's in it for them. Now, when it's what's in it for them, we also remember the buying stages. We need to remember this and keep this in consideration, because our marketing messages has to speak to the different stages, the different buying stages that they're in. Here are the buying stages. They're unaware. In other words, they have no idea that this is going to benefit them, that this product or service exists, or they have no idea that they even have the problem. So you have to be able to educate and communicate to them in that area to help them realize that they've got this potential problem that they don't realize that might be coming up, and you have to educate them, and the marketing has to be targeting and speaking to that area. Next is they can be aware that they have a problem, but however, they just really don't do anything about it. Your marketing's got to motivate them to want to do something about it. Number 3 is they're interested. So they actually realize that they have a problem, and they're interested in looking at opportunities to solve the problem. So you got to connect your marketing messages to that market segment if that market segment exists. Next is hurting and evaluating, like they really want to solve the problem. And so different kinds of marketing messages need to be communicated to those segments or that segment of the market. And next is ready to buy. Like these are individuals that right away they're looking to buy. You would communicate differently to them. You wouldn't all of a sudden start educating them about how they have a problem, because that's going to be a disconnect. Other principles we want to keep in consideration when it comes to copywriting: Cialdini's 6 principles of influence, reciprocity. Okay, when you give value to somebody, they'll reciprocate it. Commitment and consistency, being committed and consistent in everything you do creates the trust And also when we get somebody to try something out and they like it, we give them a call to action and they benefit from it. And then you give them another call to action and they benefit from it, and another call to action and benefit from it. It creates a momentum of saying yes. Now, obviously, when we do these things, we want to make sure that we're doing this at the advantage of the client and ethically, because if you mess up the relationship by being unethical at somewhere in the process, you're never going to have that client come back. And we're interested in building a long-term business and multiple relationships so we can create profit centers that can continue to grow throughout the years. Social proof. Okay, we're always going to value somebody that has proof that others are benefiting of it. So testimonials, case studies, and others talking about you. Authority. You got to present yourself. You got to communicate from a place of authority. And if you don't have the credentials, let's say you got a health and fitness product, and you don't have the credentials of doctor, perhaps you might consider partnering with a doctor and having them being the face of your brand. Liking. Okay, people will do business, as mentioned, with those that they like and trust. If people don't like you, even if your product or service is good, they're probably not going to want to do business with you because you're unpleasant. And scarcity. Okay, are you valuing your time, energy, resources, and opportunity costs? There's an authentic way of implementing this philosophy here. Not pretending like you've got no time and just trying to trick people. But if you actually provide a premium offering and you do good work and you constantly produce results for people and everybody's benefiting from this, your time is going to be limited. And so thus, you can put out premium offerings, and legitimately so. You can say, well, my time is limited and I have a couple available slots to take on more clients. Or our product or service, because of the way it's designed, we can't design it in a mass volume. So thus, we're only going to put out 300 of these products a year. You think about cars, for example, exotic cars. They only put out a handful. Now, they could manufacture more, but there's a lot that goes into it. And plus, the drivers of those cars want to maintain exclusivity. They do not want to see, 5,000 Lamborghinis, because then they don't have that same height of perceived value. They want to know that it's only 200 available worldwide, and thus they'll pay $1 million for it, or $2 million, or whatever it is, because they want to be part of a club that's exclusive. That's perceived value to the client, and why would you want to deny it? If that's what they see as valuable, you got to be able to create products and services that they see as valuable. Again, what's in it for them? So here are some questions, again, to just kind of always litmus test, always reflect upon, like a checklist, to observe your copywriting based on everything we talked about. Because look, copywriting, consultative advisory selling, direct response marketing go hand in hand. They're related. And when you're reaching out and creating deals with people, you want to keep these things into consideration. Not just your prospects, but your potential joint venture partners. Okay? Why should your prospect act now? Why might your prospect say no? What are all the benefits your product offers? Why should the prospect believe you? Okay? And how is your product different? And who are you willing to sell this product to? These are important questions, because if you can't come up with proper answers to these questions, then your marketing message is not going to really stick. You always have checklists when it comes to copywriting, consultative advisory selling, that you can refer to, reflect upon your calls, record the response rate. You want to talk about in the next section how to think like a world-class marketer and just kind of pull this all together. But a lot of this is based on testing and sound principles. There's a book called Scientific Advertising by Claude Hopkins. That book is one book that Jay has recommended to everyone, and he's even recommended to me to read over and over and over again. And he reads it every now and then over and over again, because the information in scientific advertising is so deep that even if you go out and put out a campaign, you get success, you're going to start to realize that there's far more opportunity to optimize it. And it's easy to get distracted and swayed away from the key points that make a difference when it comes to persuasion. So creating your own checklist is very important, and running your copy, running your presentations and everything through the checklist to keep yourself focused. In my Entrepreneurship Foundationals program that I created, I have a section on consultative advisory selling, copywriting, and direct response marketing. And a lot of it is kind of checklist based. When I'm doing any of these things, I'm running it through the checklist. And even when I do, I realize I can make it even better. See, the thing is, you don't have to be perfect when doing this. You just have to get to a point to where you're satisfiable to getting the kind of business that you want. Then, as you grow, you're going to have to get more granular, you're going to have to get more specific, you're going to have to get more pointed, And you're going to have to be more concise while also putting these elements into consideration. You get better with practice, like with anything. So finally, let's pull all this together and pull out the 15 points that were discovered in the book of Mr. X, the Mr. X book. 15 elements to help you think like a world-class marketer. Step number 1, read. Read every good ad you see published, then clip and save it for future reference. Do the same with direct mailing pieces that come to your office. Record all good TV infomercials that convince you to buy, especially the ones that convince you even though you don't need the product. You got to be able to reverse engineer and find out what is persuading you. When you relate it back to the marketing information and the studying that you do in consultative advisory selling, direct response marketing, and copywriting, then it's easy to see all the pieces that are important as part of the puzzle. What persuades you might not be what persuades the other person, but however, the principles will always remain the same. So that's what we want to keep in consideration. Step number 2, observe. Spend weekends and evenings shopping. Note the conduct, personalities, and actions of retailers and service companies. Keep a notebook in your pocket for jotting down ideas and observations, or put it in your phone. Every time something irritates you, make a note of it. Every time something delights you or pleases you, write it down. See, we always want to observe how we respond to things and weigh it up and cross-reference it to the information that we're learning when it comes to marketing. One of the things that caused me to become really good at selling and marketing is that every time I would buy something that was significant, I was influenced into a decision that I wasn't necessarily making or I wasn't interested in making, but I was persuaded to make, is I look at all the psychological components that made it so. How did I get to that decision? And I got excited about doing that because I could connect the dots back to what I was learning. And then I would start to incorporate that in my persuasion and my marketing as well. So reading and observation and cross-referencing is an important piece. Number 3, getting involved. Asking your customers questions. Go out to the field and spend time as a salesperson. Find what your prospects really want and what their major sales objections are. Spend 1 day a week working on the customer service phone or counter. Go out on the service calls. Until you really sit down and connect deeply with your clients and customers and your prospects on a regular basis, you are not going to get the insightful data required for you to implement in your direct response marketing, your copywriting, and your consultative selling. Otherwise, you're just imagining that you think you know what you're talking about. That is not the way to create the kind of success that we're talking about here. The real way to do it is research and study, analysis. That's how you get the phraseology. That's how you get the pains and frustrations. And that's how you get ideas for innovation. And we talked about this earlier. Marketing and innovation, as Peter Drucker put it, is the highest leverage activities of any business. As an entrepreneur, you need to be innovating, and the way to innovate is to really be connecting with your prospects and your clients, figuring out solutions. And if you can't deliver on the solutions, we've talked about many creative ways of joint venturing to be able to create the solutions. All right? And then getting good with extracting that information and embedding it into our marketing, into our selling. Number 4, play the customer. Actually order something from your own company under an assumed name and see how the customer is being treated. And observe, like complain about the purchase and observe how it's being handled. Okay, buy things from your competitors and observe how they're treating their clients and see how there are pieces that you like about what they're doing and incorporate it into your business. And there are pieces that you might not like what they're doing and make sure you're not doing those things. Number 5, listen. Okay, let your employees share with you their observations and opinions. Pay close attention to what they say. Call customers and ask questions about the performance of your business, your image, your conduct, and figure out with that optimization data how to improve the relationships. Why? Because again, lifetime client value. If you want your clients to come back again and again and again and buy from you, and most money is made in the back end, you have to smooth it out as well as you can with the entire lifetime relationship with the client. Number 6, nurture ideas. Encourage your marketing people, sales manager, ad people to try out new ideas, concepts, approaches, offers, and packages. As mentioned, it should be part, and this is how it always is with any organization that I'm part of or any business that I'm building, is I get everybody excited about consultative advisory selling, direct response marketing, and copywriting. I get everybody excited about the information in the books that I'm reading, and we discuss them. And everybody gets excited and passionate about it because they realize that it contributes to their success as well. And from all this information, you can generate ideas, unique ideas. Don't assume and force them to generate ideas if you're not stimulating them by providing them this information. Now that you have this video, and if you have a company, it's advisable to share this video with all the people that you do business with and do discussions regularly on the content. Refer back to this, because then what happens is that contained within this video are many different ideas for business growth. You might only see it from a certain perspective and get stimulated by having a handful of ideas, and then somebody else will get another handful of ideas, and you can work with these ideas together in tandem, and everybody was motivated to be part of a bigger picture, and more importantly, you'll be able to create success for you and them. Number 7, show people that you care. Acknowledge your staff, your customers, your vendors. Don't forget about past customers and the prospects that you don't sell. Remember lifetime client value. Service the living daylights out of everyone, no holds barred. Follow up on inquiries, follow up on delayed orders, follow up on problems, follow up after every sale. Number 8, learn from others. Keep a notebook at home, at the office, in the car. Whenever you observe powerful marketing techniques that captivate you, makes you want to crave or respond to a product or service, jot down the concept, approach, language, sales pitch that captivated you and incorporate similar or related techniques into your marketing strategies, into your tests. A great marketer picks the brains of peers, competitors, employees, and retired colleagues. Now, I want you to shift your paradigm here, and if you are a business owner, if you are an entrepreneur, if you're doing anything, consider yourself a marketer as well. If marketing innovation is what drives business forward, then your job is to learn marketing and figure out how you can apply sound marketing to grow the business. If you work in a company, you can help contribute to increasing conversion on prospects, adding new profit centers, etc. Number 9, test. Test as many concepts as possible. Test media, test headlines, mailings, packaging, marginal net worth. Test your sales approach, varying scripts, commercials. Never stop testing and retesting. Your marketing will never stop improving if you do so. Remember also that profit is a function of time. Speed up the process of testing and evaluation, and you can leverage your return 5, 10, or even hundreds of times. Always be testing. Number 10, improve the best. Not the worst also, but remember this. Most marketers spend far too much time, effort, and money trying to revive or salvage products that are in trouble or are not viable, and far too little time worrying about how to make successful products or services even more successful. If you've already found concepts that work, why not try to optimize them and try to get more yield out of them? Number 11, don't shout. Good advertising, good sales letters, good sales pitches, overall good marketing successfully sells the product or service without drawing attention to itself. Okay. Number 12, be compelling. Think about ads, sales letters, or sales pitches that compelled you to buy. If they're truly compelling, you become immersed in the facts, the benefits, or explanation of construction or performance, preemptive marketing, as we talked about. And you even forget that you're reading a sales pitch because you're so interested. Number 13, the idea is everything. A great marketer learns quickly that what you say is infinitely more important than how you say it. Marketing is effective because of content, not form. A great concept will transcend mediocre copy. Okay? Come up with good ideas through research and innovation, and then apply marketing. Number 14, give them the facts. Pack as many facts as possible into all your marketing. Few advertisers give enough facts to compellingly sell their products. Remember that. And number 15, keep a good thing going. Once you come up with a great marketing, you might tire of it a little earlier than the marketplace. Too many marketers kill their ads, stop their mailings, or try to change their salespeople's pitches because they're tired of hearing them. The marketplace is not. Keep that in consideration. And now to just kind of hammer this all home, I want to talk about the 9 drivers of exponential growth from Jay. And realize that as much as we're talking about money making and selling and marketing and acquiring more clients, we also have to keep into consideration these other elements to grow our business to an even higher level and bring this all home. So improve these areas here and your business will continue to grow. When you build a business from scratch based on the ideas that were presented, implement these principles as well and your business will continue to thrive and grow. And continuously optimize the 9 drivers. Okay, 9 drivers of exponential growth. Work on them. We've already talked about marketing. Okay, you have activities that are marketing actions, tactics, and strategies. Test various approaches, one versus the other. Keep all the things that we've kept into consideration and test models, vehicles, messages, propositions, call to actions, proof, outcome for the prospect, risk reversal, communication sequence, means, media, headlines. Very important. Are you proving in your communication that your prospect does what you say? Is there a no or low risk way for them to take action on the first step? Are you using referral generating systems? The other components we talked about. Strategy, very important. Change your strategy and change your results. Most companies do not have a strategy. Okay? They don't think about the goal is to continue to acquire new clients and serve them in multiple different ways. And they buy things before, during, after, and instead of buying from you. And we're going to figure out what those things are, and we're going to serve them in those areas, and that's going to be our priority. That's a strategy. Rather than just kind of whatever day-to-day activities show up, you just on the whim doing different kinds of things. Remember, one effective strategy is to start the relationship right away and convert a prospect over to client. Consider break even. Consider even losing in the front end. Consider partnerships, operating more strategic. Borrow, adapt, and adopt at the different strategies that exist in your business and other businesses, and do a lot of research. Find out what's working and adapt and adopt and apply it to your business. Capital, working with the different capitals. Remember the different capitals we talked about? The assets, money, intellectual, relational, human capital, knowledge. If you can't afford tech, expertise, resources, ask who has the resources that you can partner with and pay for results. You have access to an infinite amount of capital and assets if you think creatively. The business model. Okay, how do you get clients in the first place? And what is your model, and how does it feed and complement your overall strategy? Examine different industries and learn their strategies. Adjust the business model accordingly. Study the book E-Myth Revisited. Relationships. Remember how your relationships that you have with your prospects, your clients, joint venture partners are going to determine the success in your relationship. Identifying businesses that already have access and building relationships with them so you can acquire their leads and clients, working a split with them. Distribution channels. Remember that? Who already has distribution channels in which you can send your products and services to their distribution channel to reach a broader spectrum of the market or new clientele. Products and services. We already talked about various ways of improving the products and services. It takes effort to acquire the buyer in the first and to do the first transaction, and it's usually a huge investment. And the effort to resell them is lower. So think about lifetime client value. 3 ways to grow your business. You can increase the amount of clients, number one. Number two, you increase the transactional value in the point of purchase, or increase the amount of spend they make on that initial purchase through bundling and so forth. But once you have that relationship with them and you serve them really well, you can figure out ways of getting them to come back and buy again and again and again by creating or partnering with others on various products or services. Processes, procedures, and systems. Okay? Your entire business needs to be seen as a system and a process, and there's got to be procedures in place. And you got to figure out what these processes are, and you got to optimize them. Okay? Reduce the breakage. A lot of people, when they build businesses, they make it far too complex, adding far too much technology, far too much human resources, adding far too much software and processes, and it doesn't drive the business forward. I see this a lot in businesses. I've been very blessed that I value minimalism and highest and best use and lean operations. Okay, this is how you create entrepreneurial success, lean operations. Nowadays, you have access to technology that is pretty much free. Okay, different tools, software, APIs that connect everything together, and different technologies that exist that don't require the amount of overhead and capital and steps to produce the results. Remember, focus on marketing and innovation. The goal is to create innovating products or services and getting it out into the hands of the client as fast and efficiently as possible with good marketing, building a relationship with them, and using the various strategies to get them to buy again and again and again. That's how you grow your business. And that should be the process, and the sub-processes need to optimize to make that more effective, more efficient, faster, and serve the clients better. Figure out who excels in what in your organization and acquire and model that behavior and train it to other people. Look at all the processes used to drive your business and figure out all the ways that you can improve them. Take what you know, leverage internally, and then reach out to other companies and potentially sell those processes, systems, and procedures. I can't tell you how many CRM companies that I've met that have been successful, that have been generated and created as a result of an internal process and CRM that was created for business within. Then other companies started approaching them and saying, look, you guys have a great system for managing your business. Can you teach us? So they sell the CRM and the process and everything, and they turn it into a new profit center. Ideology. So this comes down to the pinnacle thought and the pinnacle reflection point of all my videos and everything I talk about. You become what you think about. You have to first believe that business growth is more multidimensional than you believe. You have to first believe that there's far more opportunity that exists, and you can stimulate yourself to a greater level of understanding of the opportunities by watching this video over and over again, by studying this information over and over again and taking action. You become what you think about. So if you believe that business growth can be done in a strategic way, in a way that most people don't even know exists, you believe that it exists and you apply this, then your success goes up. Whatever you think about in your reality becomes your reality. You decide on what belief systems work for you, yourself, your clients, and your teams. This is something that I cover extensively in my subconscious mind training program. I refer to the DILTS model and the various things, the values and beliefs that need to be optimized to be able to integrate all this information and produce results. If you do not have values and beliefs in alignment, or you have friction based on anything I'm talking about right here, you're hindering your progress. Change your ideology and change your results. Very important. Hope you enjoyed this video, very lengthy discussion on this really powerful book, and rightfully so. I didn't want this to be just lengthy for the sake of making it lengthy. I wanted to concentrate. And even with the concentration, even after having this discussion for hours, there's still more to it. However, that's not an excuse to not get started. You can take what you've learned right now, and you can go and apply it. And you can create new profit centers. You can grow your business. Okay, this is the book that has created tons of success stories when it comes to applying Jay's information. Tons of success stories, and you could be one of them as well. If you want a copy of the mind map, the link is in the description. Thank you very much for watching. I will talk to you soon. Take care.